is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Last night, James McCann provided a big insurance run late with a seventh-inning single to pad the Tigers' lead. But he was not the only hero last night. Frankie Rodriguez, a rare four-out save. The Tigers go on to win Game 1 in the series. And tonight, it's another gorgeous night for baseball as we welcome you to Fenway Park. We're in Boston tonight, where it's Game 2 in this three-game series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, glad to have you with us for Game 2 in the series. The Tigers with a big win last night, Rod, considering they struggled in Chicago the last 2 days. This Red Sox team, they play well at home, but the Tigers handled them last night.
You know, Justin Verlander, he was a difference maker in last night's contest. He came in and simply overpowered an outstanding offense with a lot of fastballs in the mid-90s, and that was a difference in the game. However, Mike Pelfrey going tonight will need to do some of the same things that Verlander did if he's going to slow him down.
How about Jose Iglesias last night? The little guy hit the ball literally out of the ballpark, also provided some energy on the bases. He really had himself a night.
You know, he grew up with a lot of these younger Boston Red Sox players that are having really good years for the Boston Red Sox, but he said, don't forget about me. I can still play too, and he showed some of his skills in last night's game. This ball left his bat at 103 miles an hour. Brad said Iglesias does have outstanding bat speed, and you can see he was fired up. But look at the location of the breaking ball. Little bloop single, got to second base on a pass ball. Mickey did his job, and there was Iglesias, who not only got it done by hitting the home run on the Lansdowne Street, but he also got it done with his legs, basically manufacturing that run. And he also made some really nice plays on the defensive end. So Iglesias played a really solid game last night and was really right in the middle of everything the Tigers did positively.
All right, another challenge tonight for the Tigers. Stephen Wright will be on the mound for the Boston Red Sox. This guy was an all-star this year. He throws the knuckleball, so it will be a bit of a different look.
You know, his manager, John Farrell, says his knuckleball is a violent knuckleball. It dances all over the strike zone, and because of that, this guy's had a career year. He made an all-star team this year. He could have been the all-star starter for the American League. He throws it at different speeds as well, Mario, which makes him also very difficult to barrel up. If you're the Tigers hitter, what you need to do today is you need to spread out. You might even need to choke up a little bit because the ball dances all over the strike zone. You might just want to be a little shorter, a little quicker. That might give you more of an advantage to making sure you're getting a strike to hit.
All right, should be a fun night again tonight. Here, Game 2 in the series. After a short break, back to the Call Sam studios we go. We'll check in with Kristen Keith. The two teams last night played an entertaining game. Hopefully more of the same tonight. Tigers, Bo Sox, Game 2 next. Ahead of game 2 in the series, the Tigers and the Red Sox. Tigers starting lineup tonight presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Kinsler, Iglesias, and Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Iggy has been hot of late. Victor Martinez, the DH, followed by Castellanos and Upton. And a bottom 3 tonight of Aviles Saltalamacchia, Tyler Collins will get the starts in center field tonight for the Tigers. They are facing the right-handed offerings of Stephen Wright.
Yeah, Stephen Wright having an outstanding season. As a matter of fact, he is leading the American League in earned run average at 2.67. His knuckleball, he varies the speeds with it, but it's a violent knuckleball. It dances all over the strike zone. Something else regarding Wright, he will throw you a fastball, a 2-0 count, 2-1 count, 3-1 count. Tigers very much aware of that fact.
All right, ready to go to work. The Tigers won the opening game of the series last night. Kinsler settling into the batter's box, and a gorgeous night for baseball here in Boston. Lights have been turned on here at Fenway Park. Now the big crowd filing in.
Outstanding evening of baseball last night. Tigers able to win the first game of the 3-game series. Justin Verlander was simply spectacular with a lot of mid-90s fastballs. He simply dealt in last night's game.
Well, here is Kinsler settling in now as Stephen Wright gets ready to go to work. The first pitch of tonight's ball game is a ball outside to Ian Kinsler. Kinsler, Iglesias, Cabrera. Ian last night was 0 for 4. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's a strike on the outer edge. Stephen Wright out of Torrance, California, 31 years of age. A tremendous season so far this year for Boston. 1-1 pitch is popped up behind home plate. The catcher Leon discards the mask and has room. One gone.
Let's take a look at the Boston Red Sox starting defense. It's brought to you by Tim Hortons. They've got a very young athletic outfield, and all 3 guys can really throw. That would be Holt, Bradley Jr., and Betts. Up the middle, they got Bogarts, Pedroia, Hanley Ramirez at first, Shaw at third. Leon is the catcher. He was a late addition to the starting lineup.
Here is Jose Iglesias. Iglesias had a huge night last night. Of course, the 2-run homer off Pomerantz put the Tigers in the lead. They would never give up that lead. And Iglesias looks at a strike.
And Cameron Maben still a no-go, so Iglesias occupies that number 2 slot once again for Brad Ausmus.
On field straight up on Iglesias. There's a ball outside, 1-1.
Stephen Wright came to spring training this year, and he fought for that number 5 spot in their rotation and eventually won. And he has turned out to be their number 1 starter, at least by the numbers.
And an all-star as well. There's a drive to center field. That ball will get down, base hit, maybe more. Bradley cuts it off. He's going to hold him to a single. It's a 1-out base hit for Iglesias. So he continues to swing it in this series.
Iglesias really short, quick, compact swing. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. He waited until the last possible moment, and then he decided that it was a strike, and he put a really good swing on it. And we've heard a lot about Bradley, Mario, already in center field. Look at him cut this ball off and keep Iglesias to a single while taking a direct line to get to that baseball.
That had double written all over it. That'll bring up Cabrera now with 1 on, 1 out.
Well, seems the Tigers are in a running mood here tonight against a knuckleballer, a guy that his ball dances all over the place. Might be difficult for the catcher to catch.
There's something else to consider tonight. Ryan Hannigan, who is the catcher for Wright, it was a late scratch with flu-like symptoms. Sandy Leon is behind the dish again tonight, and he has not caught Wright all that often.
He probably told Hannigan, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, way to go. So we'll see if that comes into play tonight. Here's the 0-1. It'll dance inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cabrera last night was 1 for 2. He also walked a couple of times.
Also had a very key at bat in the inning where Iglesias led off with a single and got to second base on a pass ball. Miguel hit a fly ball deep enough to right field to get Iglesias over to third, which allowed Victor to drive him in.
Here's the 1-1, and it's driven in the air to right field and hit pretty well. Betts is on the run, still going back, looks up and gone into the bullpen in right field. Miguel Cabrera, a 2-run shot.
Wright does not give up many big flies, but the big fella caught one of those knuckleballs at the bottom of the zone and hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. Man, does he have massive power. The one thing that's been missing from Miguel Cabrera's swing, and that's been the power and the balance in the lower half. He now has 8 home runs to right field, but it's been a long time since he hit a homer to right field.
Well, Wright can do his hands on hips and stare at that one and say, what in the world?
It is rare for Wright to give up a home run. This guy usually keeps the ball in the ballpark.
101 miles an hour on the hit speed. Here's a ball hit by Victor toward left field. Now number 2. Here are the field conditions presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. 92 degrees our game time temperature. Humidity right now at 35%. A very warm afternoon and now a warm evening here. And Cabrera's 2-run shot has given the Tigers an early lead. 2 gone now for Nick Castellanos. Nick looks at a ball outside. Stephen Wright has not allowed more than 1 home run in any of his starts this year. And in fact, he's had 12 starts in which he's given up no homers.
I think he's going to give up a couple today. I think he's already got 1 in the bank, and somebody else is going to get him today, too.
It's starting to look like it. Castellanos might be that guy. 18 homers this year for Nick. And he's ahead in the count 2-0. Here's the 2-0 from Wright. And it bounces in. 3 balls, no strikes.
If you're Castellanos, and because most of the numbers bear out exactly what I'm going to tell you, he will throw you a fastball in a 3-0 count most of the time. So if you're Castellanos, why not take a swing at it if you know you're going to get a fastball?
And Nick will take it. It's a strike call.
84 BP fastball right down the middle.
Castellanos was 1 for 4 last night. He's hit safely in his last 4. The 3-1 pitch. And he lost him, ball 4. 2-out base runner. He'll bring to the plate Justin Upton.
As good as Wright has been in his last 5 starts, he's given up quite a few runs. As a matter of fact, his ERA in his last 5 starts approaching 5. So he's been getting hit around a little bit.
ERA here in the month of July not nearly as good as it has been, although he has been an all-star this year, or was an all-star for the American League. Upton has hit safely in his last 4. And he'll look at a strike on the inside part of the plate.
I was joking with Justin in the clubhouse before the game today about that fastball that he hit in last night's game. It was the fastball that was clocked at 101 out of the hand of Joe Kelly that he whistled into the right center field gap for a triple. He's got amazing bat speed.
The 0-1 pitch. High fly ball right center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to make the play and that'll retire the side. But nice start for the Tigers tonight. Big fella goes deep. Miguel Cabrera hammers one to the bullpen and right. 2-0 Tigers. In this one, courtesy of the home run by Miguel Cabrera. Here's the starting lineup for the Red Sox tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. For Boston, is Mookie Betts leading it off. He's playing in right field. 42 multi-hit games already this year. Pedroia and Bogarts. Ortiz in the middle, along with Hanley Ramirez and Jackie Bradley Jr. Shaw, Leone, and Holt rounded out for the Red Sox. They are facing Mike Pelfrey, who tonight is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Well, Big Mike's got his work cut out for him this evening, and they've got 6 guys in their lineup that have better than a 300 batting average against right-handers. He was good in his last outing against the White Sox. Got a win that day against the White Sox, and really, Mario, in 3 of his last 4 starts, Mike has pitched very good baseball.
He has, and he'll need that mojo here tonight in this ballpark against this offense. 1-0 pitch is in, a strike called on Betts.
And Pelfrey throws a heavy ball. He's got a light two-seam action with 95, 96 on occasion. He's got a curveball. He's got a split-fingered fastball, and he has been experimenting with a changeup lately.
There's a bouncer, third base side. Oh, nice play there by Castellanos. Ball was headed to the corner, and Castellanos flagged it down in the backhand.
Mookie Betts hit a ball just like that to begin the game last night that Castellanos was able to go over it backhand, but he was in foul territory last time. It bounced the ball over to Miguel Cabrera. This time, enough arm strength to get it all the way to get the speedy leadoff hitter.
Well, with 1 out, here is Dustin Pedroia.
Well, one thing you do know when Pelfrey is on the mound, the infielders are going to be awfully busy. He throws lots of ground balls and has done that for a number of years.
Pelfrey this year has induced 23 double plays on the ground, which is the 2nd most in the American League.
He's ahead of his pace of a season ago where he had 29.
0-2 on Pedroia. 1 for 4 last night for Pedroia with a walk. Pelfrey, for as daunting as it can be to pitch in this ballpark, has really pretty good numbers against the Red Sox. Here in Fenway. Ahead in the count, 0-2. And Pedroia looks at a ball that just missed outside at 95 from Pelfrey.
That is a good pitch in an 0-2 count. Just a couple of inches off the plate. Wanted to see if Pedroia would chase it.
Xander Bogaerts on deck. Tigers up 2-0 on the Cabrera home run. There's a one hopper hit to short. Iglesias ranging left. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. In the outfield, you've got Upton, you've got Collins, you've got Aviles, you've got Iglesias and Kinsler up the middle, Castellanos and Miguel Cabrera on the corners, and the former Red Sox, and Jared Saltalamacchia, the catcher. Take a look at the footwork here of Iglesias. He gets over there, takes 3 or 4 steps, and then he notices exactly where Pedroia is, so he gathers himself, takes some time. Nice crow hop, nice firm throw. Sometimes even on the routine plays, it's nice to have that really good footwork.
Here's Xander Bogaerts with 2 outs. Bogaerts is batting .332, 7-game hitting streak now. Had a hit in the ball game last night, was 1 for 5. The Red Sox had their chances last night. They stranded 11 men on base.
They were 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
1 ball, 1 strike on Bogaerts.
And Mike already featuring a pretty good fastball. 93 to 95.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Well, Bogaerts on this current homestand, 7 games. He's had a .484 clip. A couple of RBIs. Has really turned into one of the premier shortstops in the American League. And really through the years has hit well against Tigers pitching. .375 lifetime against the Tigers. Pelfrey now with the 1-2. Bouncing ball up the middle. Kinsler crosses over the bag on the backhand. His throw got him by half a step. 3 ground ball outs for Pelfrey. We go to the second. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica and enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. Nice night here in Boston. We're at Fenway Park, where tonight the Tigers jump out to a 2-0 lead on the Miguel Cabrera home run in the first inning off Stephen Wright.
Another packed house here as well at Fenway Park, which is absolutely nothing new, partner. Every time we come here, it seems like this place is full.
Well, here's Mike Aviles to start things off, and he'll look at a strike. It's part of the ambiance of this ballpark. It is so intimate, and when you have a big crowd like they have every night, it seems like every single one of them are right on you.
That's for sure.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball left side, base hit. Mike Aviles with a leadoff single. That'll bring up Jared Saltalamacchia. So the Tigers had 2 hits in the first, another one here in the second, as Saltalamacchia is announced. He gets a polite round of applause for his days here in Boston.
Saltalamacchia doing what a lot of switch hitters have done over the years when they go up against a knuckleballer. He will not bat left-handed, which he does against most righties, simply batting on the right side, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's because a lot of people.
Well, that's going all the way to the backstop, advance the runner.
A lot of switch hitters believe that if they go up to the plate left-handed, that a knuckleballer will mess their swing up. So they simply go up there and bat right-handed, and we've seen some guys go up there and bat right-handed against knuckleballers that are throwing right-handed and have a lot of success.
Well, the Tigers now have a chance to get another run in on what can be termed as a wild pitch. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss.
As you can imagine, Wright has thrown quite a few wild pitches this year. That was number 9.
Well, in his last start against the Twins, he allowed just 1 earned run in 8 innings and struck out 9 in that game, but not nearly as good a start to this one. As Aviles draws the throw. Tigers came in 5.5 out in the American League Central Division. A couple of former Red Sox. You got Aviles at second and Saltalamacchia at the plate. Here's the 1-1. Bouncing ball hit towards short, gobbled up by Bogarts. Salty is out of there, 1 gone. Advance the runner to third, and we check in now with Mickey York.
Mario, we had a fun afternoon. You know, it's become kind of a Tiger tradition. When a Tigers rookie comes into Fenway for the first time, we take him inside the Green Monster to sign his name on the wall. Well, today it was Michael Fulmer's turn, and we tagged along for the ride as he left his mark. After he signed, he said, you know what, I want to know where that is when I'm looking at the Green Monster. So I remained inside knocking on the wall until he could track it down. Turns out he signed his name just above the out-of-town American League scoreboard. Tomorrow, of course, he will try to deliver another signature performance as he makes his first ever career start here at Fenway.
All right, Mick, thanks. I'm sure he's looking forward to it. I know we are as well, but anytime, and I know, Rod, you've gone in there, haven't you?
I have. That's one of the coolest things about coming to a Fenway Park, whether you're a player or what capacity you come in, and to go out there in the Green Monster and to sign the wall. It is just, it's a special feeling.
Tyler Collins trying to drive in a run now with the infield pulled in.
Had a conversation with Michael Fulmer in the clubhouse today, and he says he's awfully pumped about the fact that he's going to get a chance to start in Fenway Park tomorrow. Now, this is one of those things, Mario, if you're a big league player, it's one of those bucket list kind of things to get to Fenway Park and to play a game.
A 2-0 pitch inside 3-0. Players, especially rookie players, when they have a chance to do what Michael did today, all of a sudden become fans. They're not big league ball players anymore. Get to go inside the Green Monster. Something that he has seen on television over and over and over. Collins waits on a 3-0. And it's in for a strike.
(9-2) on the year for Fulmer, a 2.41 ERA. He's walked 30. He's punched out 81 coming off a loss in his last outing. Actually, he didn't get a loss in his last outing. We won that game.
There's a line drive to left and a base hit. Opposite field single for Tyler Collins. Avila scores, and the Tigers lead 3-0.
That's one of the keys of getting to a knuckleballer is you just have to have a short swing. You have to be committed to hitting the ball the opposite way. You also have to make sure the ball is up, and all those things happen for Collins to hit that ball the other way. It's a really nice job of just kind of staying with the baseball and not overswinging.
Tyler gets his 5th RBI at the major league level this year.
Since Tyler came back up a week ago or so, he's had some good at-bats.
Here is Ian Kinsler now with a man on and a man out. 3-0. Tigers have the lead. Wild pitch looming large in this game. It allowed Aviles to get to second and eventually score a run. Kinsler popped up in his first at bat, straight back right to the screen. It was caught by Sandy Leon. Runner goes. Now they'll throw it at first, and he threw it away. Collins will steal the bag. Had he not slid in, might have been able to get to third, but he moves in safely with a swipe at second.
And Collins took off and was about 10 feet towards second base, and Wright did not recognize. As a matter of fact, no one told Wright to step off. That's exactly what you're supposed to do when that base runner takes off prematurely. You simply step off and throw the ball to second base, not throwing the ball to first base. But you have to be alerted by either your catcher or your first baseman.
Somebody. It's been a sloppy start in this one for the Red Sox. Now a chance to drive in a run for Kinsler. Still only 1 out in this inning. Kinsler hammers it foul. Here's the Chevy Silverado most dependable player, the highest average against the Red Sox among active players since 2012. You got Kinsler on the list with Austin Jackson, Michael Bradley, and Jose Altuve. 337 for Kinsler.
It's pretty good.
Ian is 0 for 5 in the series. Pickoff throw. There's nobody at the bag. We have seen some wacky stuff early on in this game.
We sure have.
I mean, wild pitch that was nowhere near the pitcher. That bad pickoff.
It's not going to be a full moon tonight, is it?
No, it might be. The 1-1. Grounded foul as Kinsler was out in front.
I got Gino.
I woke him up at the very least.
He said, didn't get me.
Well, if it did. Kevin Rand will be right there. Not a good development early on here for Wright. He's already thrown 30. Kinsler waits back on it, slaps it to right field. Ricky Betts under it. The runner will tag and move up. Collins gets to third, 2 outs.
Jose Iglesias in last night's game got himself pretty much the only mistake that Drew Pomeranz made in the game. It was a fastball about 90 miles an hour right down the middle, and he hit it onto Lansdowne Street. He hit it out of Fenway Park.
Iglesias began his major league career in this ballpark with the Boston Red Sox before the trade brought him to Detroit.
That was the first home run that Iglesias had hit in this ballpark in 52 games.
He'll try and drive in a run now with 2 outs.
Brad was commenting on Iglesias and his hit speed last night after the game and said that he does have pretty good bat speed, but he also has the uncanny ability to put the ball in play with 2 strikes. So he's a good bad ball hitter. He can hit strikes, he can hit balls, and doesn't strike out very much.
Well, Iglesias now with a 1-1 count is the second toughest guy to strike out in the American League. Once every slightly more than 10 plate appearances. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Bouncing ball, base hit left field.
Iglesias is on fire.
He finds a hole. That is his second hit in this game, 4th already in the series. And all Stephen Wright has done tonight is shake his head.
You know, players will tell you when they go back and play against their former team, it's just another game. They don't really get up to play against their former teammates. They're not necessarily telling you the truth. Iglesias, no question, is come to play here against his former teammates.
I've never bought that argument.
Never, ever.
And you've got to believe, and really it doesn't even matter how you might have left your old team. Here is Cabrera. Tigers up 4-0. Good start to this one tonight for the ball club. Miguel with a 2-run shot in the first.
And Tigers are showing that they're going to be aggressive tonight on the base pass. I would not be shocked to see Iglesias and take off for second, even though Miguel's standing in the batter's box.
He'll draw another throw. The home run that Cabrera hit was his 20th of the season.
And of the 20 home runs Miguel has hit this year, 8 of them have gone to right field. That's the most in the majors. That's something Miguel has always had. He's always had that massive power the opposite way.
We'll pop that one up first base side. It's going to be Ramirez, and he'll haul it in for the final out. Tigers get 2 more runs. They lead 4-0.
In that first inning for Mike Pelfrey, threw 3 ground ball outs. He went around the horn. Castellanos got one off the bat of Betts, and then it was Pedroia going to Iglesias, and then for good measure, Bogart went the opposite way to Ian Kinsler. So already the infielder is busy here tonight at Fenway Park.
David Ortiz leads it off as we go to the bottom of the second. Tigers already 4 runs on 5 hits. Now Ortiz batting .330 with 24 home runs this year. And Big Papi looks at a strike, 0-1.
Even at age 40, David Ortiz still has real good bat speed. And that's one of the reasons why he stands right on top of home plate, daring the pitcher to try to get inside with a fastball.
Ooh, he was tardy there on 95, and the count is 0-2.
It looks like Pelfrey taking a page out of Justin Verlander's book last night. Lots of good hard fastballs early. And then second time through, then you go to a few of your off-speed pitches. We'll see if that's the game plan.
Ortiz takes low. Again at 95. 1-2 the count. Tigers haven't played to pull. They've got the shift on. Which means Castellanos getting his sprints in this series, running from third to short right field. Tigers by and large do not shift all that much. They are in the bottom third in shifting in the American League. But this guy will make you shift. Here's the 1-2. Pulled on the ground, foul.
I believe David Ortiz gets shifted on more than any player in the big leagues. But yet, most of the time, it hasn't worked for the opposition with the kind of numbers that David is putting up. But I have noticed one thing about his straight chart. Not nearly driving the ball the opposite way with as much authority as he has in the past. He's become much more of a pull hitter this year. 31% to the pull field, 18-16. Not going the opposite way off that monster like he's made a living doing.
Crowd is starting to make some noise now. They want Ortiz to do something. Here's the 1-2. 2-2 on Ortiz.
That's just some really good two-seam action on a 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Pelfrey's 2-2. Ortiz takes strike 3. Got him looking. Upper reaches of the strike zone, and 1 out here in the second.
We're going to make that our Bale Tire pitch by pitch. Mike Pelfrey, just about every single pitch, 95-mile-per-hour two-seam fastball to David Ortiz. He got ahead of him 0-2. Then he expanded the strike zone. Then you've got 1 foul ball. Then you've got him coming back with another fastball up in the strike zone. And he got called 3 out of home plate umpire Brian O'Nora.
4 up, 4 down against the right-hander. Here's Hanley Ramirez. He'll foul it straight back, 0-1. The Bernstein advantage brings you the pitcher-batter matchup between these two, and Hanley Ramirez's career against Mike Pelfrey, not a whole lot of luck.
That's good news, because Hanley Ramirez has probably been their last hitter the last week or so.
Open stance from the right side for Ramirez, who was 1 for 4 last night. He's been a hot hitter for Boston. He'll drive this one back up the middle, but right there is Kinsler. Another ground ball out, 2 away. So far so good for Pelfrey. Now Jackie Bradley Jr. A few puffy clouds in the area. Temperature in the 90s. Otherwise a great night here at Fenway. Bradley 2 out of 3 last evening, batting .303. Strike 1. Red Sox playing in front of another big crowd here at home. They've played a lot of home games so far this year. 57 home games, more than any other team in the American League to this point. So when you look at the second half stretch run, they'll be on the road for much of that.
Well, they're getting ready to go on a trip, Mario, when we leave on Thursday for 11 days out to the West Coast.
Ooh.
They're going to hit Seattle. They're going to hit the Dodgers.
That'll be rigorous. 1-1. Ripped to right field, base hit. 2-out single for Jackie Bradley Jr. His third hit in this series.
They actually start the trip in Southern California playing against the Angels, and then they go to Seattle, and then they go back to Los Angeles to play the Dodgers.
You know, it really doesn't matter how many games you play out there. It's, for whatever reason, it's tough to win out there. And even if they're playing bad teams or teams that are struggling, for whatever reason, whether it's the time change, nobody's been able to figure it out. It's tough.
And it's not that way with just the Tigers. It's that way with a lot of clubs that
no
go out to the West Coast.
But when you spend 11 days out there, that is a tough one, especially at this point of the season now, as the summer is starting to kick in. Here's a ball outside to Travis Shaw. Shaw playing third base, was 1 for 3, had a double and an RBI against Verlander last night.
And be careful with Shaw. He's got some sock in his bat. Big, strong, physical, left-hand power guy.
Shaw 12 home runs. He's knocked in 55. His father Jeff played 12 years in the big leagues, was a pitcher, in fact was a pretty good closer.
His dad made a few all-star teams.
Here's the 1-0. Sprayed foul, back out of play. Yeah, Jeff Shaw had over 200 saves. And so, as you would expect, Travis growing up spent a lot of time around the ballpark. One ball, one strike. Bradley at first base with a 2-out single. We'll head back toward the seats, out of play. See that little wall that juts out there down the third base line? That can be a little bit tricky for most shortstops that come in that are not used to it. Balls that you think are going to the corner will hit that little wall there and shoot back out into left field. But you got a guy in Iglesias that's used to playing in this ballpark. He grew up in this park, so that should not be an issue.
Yep. So anything that goes down there, what you're telling people is that you have to, as the shortstop, kind of go over in that direction to play the carom.
Exactly. You've got to be alive, because if it does hit that wall, it will take a right turn.
They've got a lot of nooks and crannies here at Fenway Park. They've got Triples Alley and that triangle out in center field where it jets out to 420.
The 1-2. High, ball 2 on Shaw. Shaw 1 for 3 last night with his RBI. Hit 13 homers last year, has 12 already this season. Here's the 2-2. Line drive off the glove of Castellanos, made a leaping attempt, and he almost flagged it. Go as a base hit, a couple of 2-out singles for the Red Sox.
Pretty good at bat by Shaw. Ball hit extremely hard of the opposite way. Nick elevates, and the ball goes right in the tip of the glove and falls out.
Two on and 2 out.
I will tell you this much, as a third baseman, when there's a left-hander in the batter's box, for the most part, you're not expecting the ball to be hit at you as sharply as that ball was hit off the bat of the left-handed Shaw.
There's the catcher, Sandy Leon. Had a pretty good night last night. A couple of hits and RBI. And there's a ball outside. We mentioned the Red Sox last night had 10 hits, but they stranded 11 men on base. The Tigers did a really good job of limiting the damage. And the Tiger bullpen late, especially K-Rod, was able to strand a couple of runners.
4-out save last night for Francisco Rodriguez. Second time he's done that this year.
He came in with the bases loaded in the 8th and got that final out. 2-0 the count on Sandy Leon.
Leon was not scheduled to start. Ryan Hannigan was scheduled to start tonight and catch the knuckleballer Stephen Wright. But what he does do, Mario Leon, he does give them a better bat than Hannigan. And he bats left-handed.
And he gets it done with men in scoring position. 500 this year. 11 for 22. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Popped him up. Shallow left field. Here comes Upton to make the catch. Inning over, no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. Here as we go to the top of the 3rd. By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game. We'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. And as we go now to the 3rd, it'll be Victor Martinez leading it off. Nick Castellanos just enough to follow. Tigers got 2 in the 1st and 2 in the 2nd off Stephen Wright, and this is the guy that came in leading the American League in ERA.
Tigers have a couple of switch hitters in their lineup tonight, one being Jared Saltalamacchia, the other Victor. Jared batting right-handed, but Victor likes to stay on the left side against the right-handed knuckleballer.
Travis Shaw, the 3rd baseman, has moved out beyond second base. Pedroia is the infielder in short right. Shifting against Victor, who flied to left field his first time. There's a strike called 0-1.
Not exactly why they play the defense this way. Teams elect to do it different ways, but I'm thinking that in Pedroia, it probably gives them more mobility in the outfield, more range than Shaw has. Shaw's about 6'4", 240. And where Dustin Pedroia is standing is exactly where Victor Martinez hits the ball the majority of the time on the ground when he makes contact.
Victor takes a ball inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Tigers' designated hitter. Also a former Red Sox player. A lot of them on the Tigers roster. Victor played here in 2009, 2010. Here's a swing and a miss, and down he goes. 1 gone here in the 3rd, and that'll be the first strikeout of the ball game for Wright, who, as we mentioned, struck out 9 in his last start. Here's Castellanos. Nick had a walk in the 1st inning. And that one floats outside 1-0.
When you're catching a knuckleballer, you obviously have a different glove. It's not your traditional catcher's glove. It's sort of in between a catcher's mitt and a first baseman's glove. And what you want to do is they tell you to really relax your wrist. You relax your wrist and you don't stab at the ball. He did it perfectly there, did Leon. Just allow the ball to come to your glove, almost like as a hitter when you're bunting the baseball. You stick the bat out there and you let the ball make contact with the bat instead of you pushing the bat out there. So there's an art to catching a knuckleballer.
Fouled away 1-2.
Wrist, it's all in the wrist, really. The wrists really have to be loose.
I was reading an article recently about Hannigan, who should have been catching tonight, but has been mentioned as ill. That glove right there that Leon is using is the one that Hannigan uses, and Hannigan is not allowed to keep it in his locker. Wright wants to keep it in his locker after every start.
Why?
I have no idea.
Superstition?
It must be. But he'll take the glove and say, hand it over.
Well, the guy's leading the American League in ERA. He's an all-star this year. He can do whatever he wants to do.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Leon pressed into duty tonight with Hannigan feeling under the weather.
Anytime you see the catcher stab at the ball, you're going to see either a wild pitch or a pass ball.
That one sails high, 2-2.
87-mile-per-hour fastball there.
Giddy up on it.
Yeah, it looks like 100 after all the knuckleballs in the 50, 60 mile per hour range.
In the air toward right field, straight at Mookie Betts. 2 up, 2 down. Here's the big money encounter brought to you by Menards, the lowest ERA this season. Here are the leaders. 2.67 for Wright.
And Tiger saw that kid Aaron Sanchez. He's legit.
He is good.
We see Danny Salazar quite often. We know how good he is.
Now Justin Upton. Fouled away on 1. Justin flied to center field back in the first, 0 for 1.
Wright has made 5 starts this year against the American League Central. And he has an ERA of 1.41, a whip under 1, and the opponents in the Central hitting only 180 against him. So in 5 starts, he has dominated the American League Central. Not so much tonight.
Yeah, none of that mattered to Miguel Cabrera in the first inning, who slammed a 2-run homer to right field against him.
Into that bullpen of the Boston Red Sox.
And then Collins and Iglesias had RBI singles in the second. Little number right back to the mound. Wright handles this one. It's going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the third on the banks of the Charles River here in Boston. Tigers Red Sox game 2. All right, fellas, thank you. It is 4-0. Tigers have the lead here as Pelfrey goes back to work. We're in the bottom of the third. And a ball missing outside to Brock Holt, who is starting things off for the Red Sox. Holt and then Betts and then Pedroia facing Mike Pelfrey. Pretty good start so far for Pelfrey. He did allow 2 singles in the second, but no damage. The 1-1.
Brock Holt, pretty good player, energy player, and that bats ninth. That basically gives them another leadoff hitter. And pretty much when he's in the starting lineup, they win a lot of games.
Strike on the outer edge.
Pelfrey's had a good firm fastball, some nice late action, and whether it be 93 to 95, look at that location. Outside black.
Holt was 1 for 3 last night with a walk. Full count now, 3-2 on Brock Holt. .261 batting average. There is Mookie Betts waiting on deck. Holt has a little bit of power, 5 homers this year. And he sprays that one foul. Red Sox had 10 hits last night. 9 of them were singles. So the Tigers pitching staff did a really good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark last night.
And this is the offense that leads the world in extra base hits.
Really good game, fun game to watch, as Brad said before the game, although he felt that John Farrell probably would disagree because they lost. We'll see 3-2 and it's rolled foul.
I was really impressed with Verlander. Very few of the Boston Red Sox hitters, Mario, last night got good swings at Verlander. He did give up a few singles in the game, but these guys that have been doing all this damage this year in this ballpark, Big Papi, Bogarts, Betts, Jackie Bradley Jr., Pedroia, they could do nothing last night against that Verlander fastball. Nothing. And that's why it's the best pitch in baseball, a well-located fastball.
That is ripped right to the first baseman, Cabrera.
Here's a little bit of what Verlander was able to do to the best offense in baseball. If you missed it, good hard fastballs inside to every last one of these guys. And then once he got him looking for the hard stuff inside, then he started to pull the string with some really good breaking balls. And you saw some uncomfortable swings by some really good hitters.
Verlander dominant again last night. And really, it's been a full calendar year now toward the second half of last year. Right about this time, Verlander got on a roll last season.
Great point. That's a great point.
And you know what else, Rod? You know how he started that roll was against these Red Sox in this ballpark.
That got him going?
Yeah, it was a start here in Boston, and he's been on a roll since. ZRA in that stretch is a little bit over 3.
And of the 110 pitches that Verlander threw last night, the Boston Red Sox fouled off 27 of them.
Mookie Betts the batter here. 2 balls and no strikes.
And be careful here if you decide to throw Mookie Betts a fastball. He has outstanding bat speed and tremendous hand-eye coordination. 20 homers, and he's already driven in 63 as a leadoff man.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Driven to right center field. It's down, a base hit. Collins trying to get it. He's going to backhand it. Betts on his way to second. And he's in with a double. Mookie Betts, first hit of the series, is a double to right center.
That would be his 27th, the 2-bagger of the season. Pelfrey missed with his location with the 95-mile-per-hour sinker, and that inside-out swing by Mookie Betts allowed him to whistle that ball up the right center field gap. And once he hits it, he's thinking 2 out of that batter's box and was able to get there rather easily without a play with his speed.
Here is Dustin Pedroia, who bounced out to the shortstop his first time. Pedroia sends a grounder back up the middle. Iglesias behind the bag, bobbles, but has enough time. And the runner advances, 2 outs.
Second time Pedroia has grounded out to his former double play partner, Jose Iglesias.
leave it up to Xander Bogaerts with 2 outs. Bogaerts is 0 for 1, a ground out.
This young man speaks 5 languages.
It's pretty impressive. He was born in Aruba. He's got what? English, Spanish.
You got him.
Dutch.
Yeah.
Papiamento.
Ooh, what's that?
I don't know. And I don't know what the 5th is.
Oh, that's pretty impressive, though.
Well, English. Did I say English? Look out.
You got it.
He's hit by the pitch.
You got it. English. That's it.
Well, that's going to put 2 on now as Bogaerts is hit.
That's the last thing you wanted to do. The 2-seam fastball got away from Pelfrey. He kind of dropped his arm angle to a slot that he really hadn't dropped it to all day today. And when he does get too low with his arm slot, the ball does tail on him.
I'm not sure that hit him.
If it did, barely.
Yeah, apparently it did. And right there was Brian O'Nor to say, yes, you're hit by the pitch. Well, that's going to bring up David Ortiz. It's also going to bring a little life to the crowd.
And last time Pelfrey struck David Ortiz out with a fastball at 95 miles an hour that was right down the middle. As a matter of fact, all 5 pitches he saw Ortiz were fastballs.
Ball 1 to Ortiz.
Every now and then Pelfrey, as I just mentioned on that pitch that he hit Bogaerts with, he'll drop his arm slot ever so slightly, which causes the ball to start to tail away from the left-handers and in on the right-handers. He needs to make sure he makes that adjustment early on if that continues to happen here tonight.
Now it's 2-0 on Big Papi. Kinsler playing out in the outfield grass. Castellanos staying at home with the runner at third base. Outfield straight. Ortiz licking his chops now. He's ending the count 2-0. Bouncing ball, foul outside of the bag at first. 2 balls, 1 strike on David Ortiz.
46 pitches into the game today. About 95% of them have been fastballs from Pelfrey. He has not used his splitter. He has not used his curveball, nor has he experimented with that changeup so far this evening. All fastballs.
Well, he's facing one of the better RBI men in the American League this year. 81 driven in for Ortiz. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 94 at the letters.
As a hitter, that pitch looks so inviting. It looks so good. You see it come out of his hand. It's a fastball. It's not moving a whole lot, and you just can't hold your swing up, especially when you're in a hitter-friendly count, as David Ortiz was sitting. Does he dare go back upstairs with another fastball? He's already swung through a couple of those.
Let's find out. Salty calling for the fastball. Here's the 2-2. He went up there, but Ortiz wouldn't get off red for that.
Well, if he has any confidence whatsoever on anything soft, whether it be his splitter or whether it be his curveball, now might be not a bad time to throw it. David Ortiz has seen 10 pitches in his 2 plate appearances tonight from Pelfrey, and every last one has been a fastball.
Full count, 3-2. Bogaerts will be on the run at first. Now the chance of Papi. Here's the 3-2. Driven in the air, deep to right field, way back and gone. Ortiz has done it again. A 3-run shot.
There is not a big game player in our sport today. As a matter of fact, David Ortiz might be one of the biggest game players in all sports.
He's got some hops right now. He's energized.
He has some good coffee today. Here's the pitch by pitch. Every last pitch that Pelfrey has thrown so far tonight to David Ortiz has been a fastball. He's thrown some by him, but in the 3-2 count, he threw him one too many, and David Ortiz did what he has done so many times in this ballpark. He connects for a monster home run.
25th home run of the year for Ortiz, and all of a sudden it's a one-run game, 4-3.
It's kind of why I was kind of asking after we look at Perez. I mean, Ortiz stare down, and Pelf just a little bit there.
Anthony Ramirez, the batter, with 2 outs. He sends a ground ball to second base. Kinsler has it there. That'll end the inning. But David Ortiz doing it again. Homer number 25.
Historical landmarks located within its nooks and crannies. One of the most iconic.
Ball game 4-3 is our score. The Tigers still have the lead. A 3-run homer by David Ortiz has tightened this one up considerably. And for the Tigers here in the 4th inning, it'll be the bottom 3 of Vilas, Saltalamacchia, and Collins.
And no question that Pelfrey's going to have to make some adjustments on how many fastballs he has thrown so far in this game. He got hit rather hard in that last inning. Brock Holt lined it out to Miguel Cabrera to lead off the inning. Then Betts hit that double in right center field, and Big Papi connected for the 3-run homer, all on fastballs.
Meanwhile, it's been a bit of a struggle for Stephen Wright, the ERA leader in the American League, coming in. Tigers got him for 2 in the first, 2 in the second. He did have a 1-2-3 third. Vilas with a single and a run scored tonight. There's a strike on the inside part of the plate.
It's one of the things that Wright will do with the knuckleball. He'll go anywhere from 54, 55 miles an hour up to 75, and with the variation in speeds with his knuckler.
That ball hammered to left field, way back, but it's going to be caught right in front of 379 by Jackie Bradley Jr. Want to wait? Hey, go to every Tigers home game in August for just $95. The August digital ballpark pass. It's 19 games for just $95. To order your August ballpark pass, visit tigers.com/pass.
I don't know about you, partner, but that sounds like a really good deal to me.
Great deal. Think they'll let us in on it?
I think they might let us in on it.
Yeah, why not? 0-1 on Saltalamacchia. Salty bounced out his first time up, advancing a runner. And You look at a ball outside. Stephen Wright, like most knuckleballers, has an interesting story. He was originally drafted by the Indians and was on the verge of being released when they approached him and said, "How about you try the knuckleball?" There's a base hit to left field for Salter. 1 on, 1 out. So he did. He mastered it, and he really decided to study it as well as he could. He's worked with Tim Wakefield, Charlie Huff, and here he is, and he's made an all-star game.
He got hurt down the stretch last year. He suffered a concussion while running in the outfield here at Fenway Park, and they shut him down for the rest of the year. But he went to spring training this year, and they gave him an opportunity to compete for that number 5 spot in the rotation. And it took nearly to the end of spring, but he was awarded that position. And look at him now, an all-star and a 2.6 ERA, and he's had a fabulous year.
Tyler Collins looks at ball 1. So the Tigers trying to rebuild their lead now. Collins knocked in a run with a single in the second. He drove one the opposite way to knock in Aviles. Little pop up down the right field line, foul. Nice play on the carom there. 1 ball, 1 strike. They're playing Collins to pull on the infield. Outfield shaded a little bit the other way.
Collins might as well bunt for a base hit.
There's no way they throw him out. That's missing outside. 2-1.
It might be a little tougher to bunt a knuckleballer, but as much room as he has down the third baseline, why not go for it? He can go right down in this direction. No problem with a bunt base hit.
Swing and a miss. 2-2.
And for those of you maybe thinking the knuckleball may be a little tougher to bunt, not necessarily. I mean, if guys can hit it, guys can bunt it. You just have to concentrate.
Swing and a miss, and Collins is out of there. Only the second strikeout of the game for Wright. 2 away, and now a chance for the leadoff man, Kinsler. Ian is 0 for 2, pop up and a fly ball. Batting average now at .290 for Ian. He sits safely in 5 of his last 6. That'll get away, but not far enough. It was smothered by Leon, who I would say is doing a pretty good job so far tonight catching the knuckleball.
I would agree with that. He has held his own, but this last one was just absolutely nasty. He did well just to knock it down and prevent Saltalamacchia from advancing into scoring position.
2-0.
Ian Kinsler has that built-in uppercut swing, but really has to caution himself against here is not dropping that back shoulder, not dropping that back arm. He needs to stay as parallel as possible once he starts to swing, and that's how you're going to have success. Otherwise, you're going to swing underneath it.
High fly ball to center.
Drop that back shoulder.
Jackie Bradley Jr. makes the catch, and the side retired. the fourth inning. Let's check in now with Mickey York, who's sitting around one of the landmarks here at Fenway Park.
Guys, one of the cool things about Fenway Park is all the historical landmarks located within its nooks and crannies. One of the most iconic, of course, the red seat in right field, where Ted Williams hit the longest home run in Fenway Park history, 502 feet from home plate. June 19th, 1946, the Detroit tie. It came against Tigers pitcher Fred Hutchinson. And get this, fellas, it can be yours any game night for just $28.
That's it. You know what? Thanks, Mick. I'm going to stick with my press box seat here. 502 feet on that home run.
That is a long, long way.
Oh, you're not kidding.
They had benches back then, and now they have put seats in. But back in those days, they had benches that the fans sat on.
Yeah, the actual seats, I believe, came in the 70s here at Fenway Park, but benches back in the day at Ted Williams. Bradley leading it off. He's followed by Sean Leon. 4-3 ball game. Here's a pop-up foul back out of play.
And Pelfrey already mixing in some off-speed pitches here in the fourth inning after going through the first 3 innings. In 50 pitches, 95% of them were fastballs. David Ortiz finally caught up to one of those 95-mile-per-hour fastballs.
And Ortiz hit his 25th home run. One ball and 2 strikes. Jackie Bradley Jr. And he looked at a ball high, 2-2. Pelfrey retired the first 5 in a row he faced in this game. Gave up a couple of hits, but no damage in the second. Red Sox finally got to him in the third. Here's the 2-2. Once again, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Lefties came into this game batting .352 against Mike. He just had trouble getting them out. And of course, Ortiz got him for the 3-run homer. Now the full count pitch. And he walked it. Leadoff man is on here in the 4th inning. Jeff Glover and Associates brings you the scouting report on the Tigers and what they've been able to do in their last 7 here at Fenway Park. You look at some of these numbers, Rod, and you say it's awfully good.
Last couple of years, the Tigers have rolled in here, Mario, with some pretty good pitchers. Yeah, David Price, Max Scherzer comes to mind. Of course, Justin Verlander. And they've pitched well in this ballpark.
It was a 1-0 game here in 2014 as well.
Max Scherzer started that game.
Tying run is on now. Here's Travis Shaw. Foul back out of play. 1-1 on Shaw.
And Mario told you earlier that and Pelfrey has already thrown 23 ground ball double plays this season after leading the majors in that category last year. Very important for him to make sure that Jackie Bradley Jr. does not entertain the thought of stealing second. You must keep your double play in order. And of course, if Shaw hits it on the ground, he's a double play candidate.
Shaw had a single back in the second. Little high.
And there's no doubt that John Farrell, the manager of the Boston Red Sox, recognizes and understands exactly what I just told you. Therefore, he may give Bradley Jr. the green light.
Line to center field, and it's going to drop. Base hit. Right in front of Tyler Collins. A walk and a single greeting Pelfrey here in the 4th.
And Red Sox are doing exactly what they have been able to do a lot of times in this ballpark, and that's swing the bats aggressively. That's not a horrible pitch by Pelfrey. It's down. It's a 2-seamer that's fading away from Shaw, but he was able to hit it sharply in the center field.
Gives a breakdown on Pelfrey after 60, 35 strikes.
Leon does not bunt, does not have a sac bunt this year, but yet, and Castellanos and Pelfrey talking about the possibility of him trying to sacrifice the runners to second and third respectively.
Leon flied out to left field his first time up. Had a couple of hits and an RBI in last night's game. And he shows bunt.
Well, he wants to bunt down in this direction if he is bunting, because that forces Castellanos to come and get it in, and also opens up that clear lane and for Jackie Bradley Jr. to get over to third base if and Leon is still bunting. But you want to bunt down toward third base in this particular situation to get Castellanos off the base.
That's in the air towards center field. Collins moving over. Bradley tagging, catch is made. Bradley coming to third base. He's in there safely, and holding it first is Shaw. So that fly ball by Leon advances the tying run to third. 1 out. Bring up Brock Holt.
And Pelfrey still just one ground ball out of getting out of this jam, and he knows that always. Never panics in these situations.
Sharply hit ball by Holt, his first time up, lined right to Cabrera. Pelfrey got 3 ground ball outs in the first. In there, a strike called. Tigers have 4 runs on 6 hits, 3 runs on 5 Boston hits.
And not so much now, but anytime a guy like Holt steps into the batter's box with the runner on third, less than 2 outs, the squeeze has to be in the back of your mind.
One and one.
Something else that we've seen a lot of this year, not so much the suicide squeeze,
Safety.
but the safety squeeze, where the guy bunts the ball and then the guy on third base takes off after the ball's on the ground.
Now Pelfrey ready with the 1-1. High, 2 balls and 1 strike on Brock Holt.
Jim Leland, Tigers' former manager, who's here in Boston. I remember, Mario, when we used to talk to him about the squeeze play, he said he would put it on, then he would hold his breath until it was executed.
And he literally would hold his breath, too. He said so many things could go wrong with it.
That's what he thought of the squeeze play.
He would do it occasionally.
He would.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
That's a good pitch at 82. In a fastball count, which makes it even more of an effective pitch. Not sure whether that was a splitter or that newfound changeup that he's been working on. That's a splitter. Nice action on it.
Leadoff walk by Bradley, a single by Shaw, fly ball by Leon, advance Bradley to third. That'll bounce in. Good block by Saltalamacchia.
Outstanding block by Saltalamacchia. And now the double play is going to be taken out of play because of the fact that the runner on first will take off on the 3-2 pitch. It's a nice block by Saltalamacchia, though. Textbook.
Three and 2 the count on Brock Holt. Crowd starting to make some noise again. Runner going on 3-2, fouled back out of play. Shaw will head back to first base. Well, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Mookie Betts waiting on deck. Pelfrey facing the number 9 hitter here. Again, the 3-2 with the runner going, and a bouncing ball foul. Red Sox have had a couple of extra base hits in this game. The Betts double and the Ortiz home run. After being limited to 9 singles, 9 of their 10 hits last night were singles. Chili Davis hoping his team can at the very least tie this one up here. He's watched a prolific offense this year. And again, the 3-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Kinsler will try the tag. Can't get it. Throw to first is in time for the out, but the run will score. And that'll tie the ball game up.
It's a nice play here by Ian Kinsler. He tried to tag the base runner as he ran by, but then he knew he had to hurry and to get the ball to first base, especially with Holt running, and they just did get him.
Four ball game. The Red Sox have fought back from a 4-0 deficit. Now they've got the go-ahead runner at second. Here's Mookie Betts.
What is Brad going to ask here? That the Shaw was out of the baseline?
Jim Reynolds, the third base umpire. And now Brad is going to have a chat with Manny Gonzalez now. What do you think on that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, it's not egregious.
Doesn't hurt to go out and check, though.
So the play will stand. It's 4-4. Here is Betts. Doubled and scored in the third on the home run by Ortiz.
And be careful here if you throw Mookie Betts a first pitch fastball.
One ball, no strikes. There's not a leadoff man in the major leagues that has more hits than Betts. 128 hits, leading all leadoff men. Here's the 1-0. Way outside. Saltalamacchia down to backhanded.
I was talking to Chili Davis yesterday while they were taking batting practice, and I was asking him, of the young players, who is the most impressive of Bogarts and Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and he did not hesitate. He says Mookie Betts can do some things with the bat the other guys just cannot do.
Really?
That's exactly what he said.
He's ahead 2-0, and he'll look at a ball high 3-0.
He said his hands are so quick.
Betts hitting over 300. He's hit 20 home runs. I mean, he's not very big, and he's already hit 20 bombs this year. Here's the 3-0. He's taking 3-1.
Among leadoff hitters in the majors, well, you look at it.
It pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
You can't say a whole lot about
Not
that.
a whole lot to be said. Here's the 3-1. Driven toward left field, up and can't get it over his head. A run will score. Betts is on his way to second, and the Red Sox have the lead.
Didn't we just get finished talking about how hard this young man hits the ball? This is an absolute frozen rope that was hit to left field that Justin Upton really didn't know what to do. I mean, he came in, he went back, and eventually the ball just took off over his head. An absolute frozen rope.
I can't imagine how hard that play must be to make. I mean, that thing was a rocket right at you. Upton stepped back, got his glove on, it appeared.
Good Lord.
And he put yet another dent in that scoreboard out in left. Second double of the night for Mookie Betts, and it's 5-4 Boston.
I can't wait to see what the hit speed was on that double off the bat of Mookie Betts. They're telling us that it was 111. 111 off of his bat. One more look and one more listen.
Well, here is Pedroia now with the man at second. A 2-run inning, and the Red Sox have their first lead of the night. And a ball outside to Pedroia. There's some activity now in the Tigers bullpen. Got a lefty-righty combination warming. Ryan the lefty and Alex Wilson the righty. Each ball club now with 6 hits. Outside 2-0, and this week got Pelfrey in trouble with Betts. He fell behind him.
Well, I like the fact that he's throwing more off-speed pitches, but he's falling behind with the off-speed pitches, and now he's forced into coming back with the fastballs, and that's exactly what the Boston Red Sox are looking for. Every hit that Pelfrey has given up today has been on that 94, 95 mile per hour sinker.
Here's the 2-0. Ground ball right at Cabrera. He'll take this himself, and that will end the inning. Not before the Red Sox take their first lead of the night. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. Nighttime settling in now here in Boston. The Red Sox have taken a 5-4 lead. It was once a 4-0 Tigers advantage, and a big inning again in the fourth. RBI double by Mookie Betts, breaking the tie, and now the Tigers have 2, 3, and 4 coming up against Stephen Wright. It'll be Iglesias, Cabrera, and Martinez. Been a good night for Jose. A couple of singles. He has knocked in a run and scored one. And he'll take a ball high 1-0. Two balls and no strikes. Iglesias now 4 hits in 6 at bats in the series. That's in there. Iggy had the 2-run homer off Pomeranz last night, bringing the Tigers back. And he'll watch that one in the glove low, 3-1.
That's a good eye. That is a really good eye.
Cabrera waiting on deck.
He's already played long ball here tonight. 2-run home run if you tuned in a little late.
See, leadoff walk.
Here is the Magic Moonshot presented by Magic Window. Miguel Cabrera stepped up in the very first inning after Iglesias had singled, and he got himself a changeup, a knuckleball at the bottom of the strike zone and hit his 8th home run of the season the opposite way, which is the most in the majors. But the first home run that he hit to right field in a couple of months.
So Cabrera now has 20 home runs on the year, 59 RBIs. And he'll take ball 1. Cabrera now has 8 seasons of 20 or more homers with the Tigers, 3rd most in club history. Cash had 11, Kaline had 9. Now Miguel with 8. 20 homer seasons. Up and in, and the count goes 2-0.
We'll see if Wright decides to throw Miguel a fastball here. If he does throw Miggy a fastball, Miggy's going to hit it extremely hard somewhere. And Miggy knows those are some of the tendencies of Wright, that when he does fall behind, he's not afraid to throw that fastball, but we'll see here. Nope, knuckleball.
And Miguel takes it, a strike call. 2-1. Wright became an all-star this year at the age of 31. He didn't get to the big leagues until he was 28.
Did not pitch in the all-star game. But no doubt that's a memory that he will cherish for the rest of his life.
Outside, 3-1.
Miggy's still looking for that fastball, still sitting on that one that he might get.
Leadoff man on, the walk to Iglesias, middle of the lineup here facing right. They've just given him a 1-run lead. 3-1 pitch is ball 4. Back-to-back walks. It's 3 of them now for Wright. Hey, the Tigers host the Astros this Friday at 7:10 p.m. Nate Robertson to participate in a pregame Q&A session at 5:45. Part of the season-long celebration of the 10th anniversary of the 06 AL champs. Visit Tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER for more info. Carl Willis out there now to have a chat with Wright. You got Victor Martinez coming up, who is 0 for 2. 2 men on.
And Carl Willis has been a pitching coach for a number of years. He got his big break with Eric Wedge with the Cleveland Indians. Then he followed Wedge to Seattle. And now in Boston with John Farrell.
So here is Martinez. Victor struck out back in the 3rd. Martinez takes high, 1-0.
There's been a couple of starts this year where Wright has struggled. one start against the Texas Rangers on a real hot night right here in Boston where he was sweating, and the sweat from his arms continued to go down to his fingertips, and he could not grip the baseball. Then he had another start against the Houston Astros where it was raining, and he gave up a pretty crooked number as well. So there's been 2 starts where he's given up big numbers where he's perspired a lot, or either the arm was wet because of the rain, and you can see his arms right now. There's a lot of perspiration on his arms, and that just goes down to the fingertips, and it makes it more difficult for a knuckleballer to grip the ball and to throw it consistently in the strike zone. And we're starting to see some of that.
It's 92 degrees at game time tonight, so it is a very hot evening here. Here's the 2-0. Victor hammers it into right field, base hit. Here comes Iglesias to third. They're going to send him home. Throw to the plate is not in time. Victor gets it done. It's a 5-5 game. RBI number 58 for Martinez.
We've had some patient at bats in this inning by Iglesias, Miguel, and now Victor. And Victor rips the ball sharply into right field. And even though Betts has an outstanding arm from the outfield, because Iglesias got such a good jump, Dave Clark, third base coach, did not hesitate in making the decision to send him home.
So the Tigers come right back to tie it up. Now they have 2 men on and nobody out for Castellanos.
Old-fashioned slugfest here tonight.
And we've got a long way to go in this one. Castellanos takes way outside. There's some action now for Boston in their bullpen.
You can see the right continues to try to wipe his arm, trying to wipe his hand, and because of the sweat, it's a different looking Robbie Ross Jr. from the one that we used to see that pitch for Texas.
Got the flowing locks.
Yeah, he does.
Show hair, is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Show hair.
It's a 1-0 pitch. Popped up by Nick. First base side. Ramirez coming over. He has room, but he can't make the play.
First base is a new position for Hanley Ramirez, but that ball should have been caught. I think he was concerned about running into the railing right where his dugout was, and the ball came back on him. And once he took one look at the dugout, he lost it. He missed that thing by 5 feet.
Oh, it wasn't even close. And Wright's got to be feeling, man, I thought I had it out there. Hanley came up as a shortstop, played some outfield, and now they've moved him to first base this year. New life for Castellanos, who fouls it off.
Hanley's been a pretty good third baseman, too. First baseman. He's played decent baseball over there. Brian Butterfield, who is their third base coach and also handles the infielders, has done some nice work with Hanley Ramirez.
Only 3 errors at that position this year.
And they weren't quite sure whether he could play that position this year in spring training.
Here's the 1-2. There's a ground ball, base hit left field.
Keep that line moving, boys.
It's going to load the bases now for the Tigers as Castellanos comes up with a single, and the first 4 have reached for the Tigers here in the 5th.
Well, we told you, if you weren't with us at the top of the show, that yes, Wright is an all-star, and yes, he had a 2.67 ERA coming into play today, but in his last 5 outings, he's been getting hit around quite a bit. ERA right around 5.
Here is Upton now, and John Farrell getting a little bit uneasy in his dugout. Upton with a fly out and a ground out. Ball 1.
And Wright continues to wipe his pants with his arm, but he hasn't gone to get any of the rosin to help out of any of his sweating here today.
Miggy, Victor, and Castellanos. That is whistled right off of the first baseman Ramirez. They'll get it out at first base, but the Tigers will get a run. Cabrera comes in to score on another bullet.
In the month of July, Justin Upton has hit so many balls hard and does not have a whole lot to show for it. I don't know how Hanley was able to get glove on that one, but he was. able to get it, and then they get the out at first base, and the Tigers score a run.
So the Tigers go back in front, 6-5 ball game. Give Upton his 41st RBI. Infield coming in now as Mike Avila steps in. And Avila takes a strike, 0-1. Tigers answer the Red Sox 2 spot in the 4th with 2 of their own. Avila's 1 out of 2, single, run scored. And he pops this one up. Right side of the infield, who wants it? Ramirez. And the runners will hold. You see Pedroia, he ran out there as quick as he could to help him out. But Hanley was able to make the play 2 away.
Well, I think what Pedroia was doing, he was going to make sure that he was anticipating that if Victor somehow was going to try to tag up because the back was turned to the infielder, he was one that wanted to make the play.
So 2 outs now. The infield pushed back, and that'll bring up Jared Saltalamacchia. Salty's single and a ground out. And he shoots one back up the middle into center field, base hit. 1 run scores. Castellanos around third. He will come around to score. 2-run single for Saltalamacchia. His 2nd hit tonight. This one with 2 outs. So the Tigers going to knock right out of the ball game here as they plant an 8th spot on him. And we'll step aside. Ross coming in. It's the wall side windows pitching change. We'll be back.
There's 2 outs, but take a look at the third base coach here, Dave Clark, on the base hit. He's going to read this ball right away, and once he reads it, he sees it in the outfield, and now he tells the base runner to score, and Castellanos able to score without a play.
Now Robbie Ross will check in facing Tyler Collins. Hits a strike called 0-1.
In 32nd game tonight that Ross has been in, the ERA just a shade over 4. Holding left-handers to a 156 batting average. Right-handers not doing much better.
Right to the second baseman Pedroia, who stays with it, and that'll retire the side. However, it is a big inning for the Tigers. They scored 4 runs. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Tigers score 4 runs in the 5th inning. They now lead at 8-5. And Jared Saltalamacchia with one of the key blows, a 2-run single in the 5th.
Saltalamacchia has got some huge hits for the Tigers this year. 10 home runs. And the majority of those home runs he's hit in the Tigers uniform are either tied the game or given the Tigers the lead.
Here's Xander Bogaerts to lead it off, and David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez against Mike Pelfrey, who has new life now. And the first one is fouled off on a check swing, 0-1.
Huge inning here for Pelfrey. You have to make sure that when your team gets back in the dugout, the score is still 8-5. And keep the momentum on your side.
Bogaerts hit by a pitch in the 3rd ahead of the 3-run homer by Ortiz. The Red Sox able to get 3 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th. They took a 5-4 lead, but that disappeared quickly as the Tigers knocked the starter Stephen Wright out of the ball game. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, Mike Pelfrey has not gotten a lot of run support this year in starts where he's been out there, but he's got quite a few runs tonight. He's got 8 to work with.
Pitch count at 80 now for Pelfrey. Outside again, 2-1. Bogaerts trying to extend his hitting streak, which right now stands at 7. Here's the 2-1. High, 3 balls and 1 strike.
And Pelfrey getting over just 3.5 runs per game all season today, as I mentioned, with 8.
He's got Ortiz lurking. Pelfrey started the 4th inning off with a walk.
Big Papi chopping it up with the fans just like Miguel Cabrera does.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. And a strike call, 3-2.
And 2-seam fastball on the inside part of home plate, caught nicely by Saltalamacchia.
More to go in this series, and then it's back home to take on the Houston Astros. Brad, before the game today, said that his rotation for that Houston series will be Boyd, Verlander, and Pelfrey. They're pushing Mr. Fulmer back, trying to limit his innings, and they are going to skip Sanchez. 3-2 is high, ball 4. Didn't want to do that. Lead off walk. Check in now Mickey York, who's roaming the ballpark tonight.
It's me, guys, Mickey York. I know for a moment you thought I was Big Papi. All season long, the Red Sox are paying tribute to David Ortiz in his final season here in Boston. They've been doing video vignettes on the scoreboard, different tributes and events throughout the season. Tonight, the first 15,000 fans through the gate got this Papi look-alike costume. You like the bling? You like Papi's bling, don't you? I know you do. You can't have it. It's mine.
I see you, Mick.
Look at Mickey.
I see you, Mick.
It's me, guys, Mickey.
You might have thought I was Big Papi, he said.
Did you see the size of that chain? It's
I
like
did see that.
A tenth of the size of Papi's.
I did see that.
That's how Mickey York makes the big bucks right there. Well, here is David Ortiz. 3-run shot in his last at bat. Pelfrey from the set. Ball 1 high. Red Sox have gotten the leadoff man out each of the last 2 innings. Ortiz's home run in the 3rd was his 25th of the year. Here's the 1-0. Outside, 2-0. There's only one batter that has had more RBIs this year than Ortiz, and that's Edwin Encarnacion of the Blue Jays with 87. Ortiz is right on him. Gotta love the disguise. What a giveaway.
People are sporting them proudly too, partner. They got the glasses, they got the beard, and they got the bling. The Mr. T starter kit.
Nice play. Mickey fires to second one, and they're going to get a double play.
How about that little two-step there by Iglesias at shortstop?
Ortiz doesn't run well. He doesn't run hard. He's got his hand-foot problems, so getting out of the box has been a challenge for him.
Nice job here by Miguel, and then he just lofts it over the head of Bogarts, and then a little two-step by Iglesias, and he flips it over to Mickey to complete the double play.
He could have taken his glove off and threw it left-handed to first base and still got it.
I think you're right. Or ran it over to himself.
Or ran it over. Another double play.
Imagine that. 24 of them. And he's ahead of the pace that he had last year. 29. And he paced the majors with grounding into double plays. Already 24 this year.
Hanley Ramirez with 2 outs. He is grounded twice to the second baseman Kinsler. Tigers lead 8-5. They had led it 1.40, then fell behind 5-4.
Hanley Ramirez said that every single day he watches a videotape of Manny Ramirez, who he used to pattern his swing after, not so much these days, but Hanley used to look exactly like Manny Ramirez in the batter's box. He's kind of changed lately, but he says, Mario, that every single day he will watch the video of Manny Ramirez to kind of get him locked in on what he needs to do on that particular day. He had that much respect for what Manny did while he was in the batter's box.
Well, it kind of reminds you of J.D. Martinez, who watched video of Miguel Cabrera.
And Torrey Hunter said that when he was struggling, when he was playing for the Los Angeles Angels for about 2 months straight, he studied video on Miguel Cabrera.
Here's the 2-1. Little pop-up. Middle of the infield. Who's going to take it? Iglesias will, and that is that. No runs, a walk, nobody left. Look at Poppy York.
Big Poppy.
Look at the bow up.
He walked at the
T-Mobile's greater coverage of baseball. What's happening around the big leagues? Melvin Upton Jr. has been traded to the Toronto Blue Jays.
He is one of 2 players in the game right now, Mario, with 15 or more home runs, 20 or more stolen bases. He and Jose Altuve.
Rosenthal placed on the DL for the Cardinals, and Josh Donaldson hit his 25th home run this season tonight against the Padres.
Back-to-back 25 homer seasons for Toronto third baseman, the first Toronto third baseman to do that.
So we get closer and closer to the Monday trading deadline. I'm sure many more trades will be made. Here is the first one in for a strike on Ian Kinsler.
Well, you know, David Dombrowski, who now makes most of the decisions here for the Boston Red Sox after watching Stephen Wright struggle again on the mound. He's probably going to have to go out and get himself another starter to go along with David Price.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt he's got to be concerned. There's Dave.
And they are going to get some bullpen pieces back. Kimbrel's coming back.
There's a soft line drive to left, base hit.
Yeah, but if you want to be taken seriously in this league, you've got to have some quality starters, and right now their starters aren't getting it done.
Leadoff single by Kinsler, his first hit in the series. Tigers also getting some pieces back hopefully soon, including J.D. Martinez, who started a rehab tonight. And AAA or for AAA Toledo, 0 for 4 with 2 flyouts. He is DHing. And for Martinez, they say he'll DH the first 2 days and then play the outfield on Friday after an off day on Thursday. Iglesias looks at a ball.
And nobody out. And one of the things that Iglesias tries to do, especially with Handy Ramirez holding on Ian Kinsler, he likes to try to shoot that hole on the right side of the infield. That will be playing double play depth. Here's that hole I'm talking about. A lot of times Iglesias will go right in that direction.
They've not been able to get him out tonight. 2 singles, a walk, 2 runs scored.
Couldn't get him out last night either. A home run, another single, scored 2 runs against his former teammates.
Ooh, Iggy didn't like that call. A little bit outside, he thought. Let's see.
And a little generosity shown by Brian O'Nora.
Kinsler drawing a throw.
Ross and Kinsler were teammates in Texas.
Yeah, Robbie Ross had a couple of really good years with the Rangers.
Was he rookie of the year, or was he nearly the rookie of the year?
No, I don't think he won it. He came close, though.
He was second or third. He was pitching out of the bullpen that year, too.
58 appearances, was 6-0.
I know it was close. His name was in the conversation that year.
Here's the 2-1. It is outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Cabrera waiting on deck. It'll get back out of play. 3-2 now on Iglesias.
I don't think Brad will have an issue starting in Kinsler from first base here. Iglesias does not strike out very often. And if you're Kinsler, you're not trying to steal the base. You're just simply trying to stay out of the double play. So you can't take off too soon if you're in, because you don't want to get picked off. And what you're relying on is Iglesias putting the ball in play. He stayed home.
Bouncer back up the middle. Pedroia, great play. They'll get the out there. And Iglesias safe at first.
There's some good middle infielders in the game here tonight. Kinsler at second base along with Pedroia. Then you've got Bogarts, and you also have Iglesias. It's a nice play here by Dustin. Dives, leaves his feet, and still flips it to Bogarts, but they couldn't turn it over because of the speed of Iglesias. And he flipped it with his glove.
1 away for Miguel Cabrera. Tigers have 10 hits tonight. They lead this one by a score of 8-5. And Miggy looks at a strike.
Probably the most puzzling number regarding Miguel Cabrera this year is the fact that he's hitting only 189 against left-handed pitching. 189.
Well, in May I thought it was kind of weird. In June I thought it was weird. I thought eventually it would take off, but he just has not been able to take off against lefties.
But he's 2 for 2 in his career against Ross, excuse me.
Cabrera tonight, 2-run shot. He's also walked and scored. The home run was against right. He hit it to the opposite field into the bullpen in the first inning as the Tigers were building a 4-0 lead. One and two. Ross in 2012 was 6-0 with a 2.22 ERA out of the bullpen for the Rangers. Little chopper hit toward third. They'll go to second one. Relay to first is a double play. That'll take care of the Tigers here in the sixth. All right, Trev, thanks. And the Tigers will take a lead to the bottom of the sixth inning. Our score is 8-5. Kyle Ryan now in a well-set Windows pitching change.
Man, Ryan pitching in his 36th game this year comes in 4-2 with a couple of holes. The ERA sits at 331. He's got a couple different fastballs, 2s and 4s.
Hammer to the air to right field. That ball is hit a ton, and that ball is gone. Jackie Bradley Jr. put a charge into that one, and it's 8-6.
Is this the best young outfield in baseball, or do you still give the nod to the Pittsburgh Pirates young outfielders of Marte and Polanco?
It's a great, great question.
That ball is down at 87, nice little slide piece, and he goes down to get it. Not only does he go down and get it, but he goes down and gets it and hits it out of the ballpark.
I don't know, I might have to give these guys the nod.
I've been thinking about that a lot. I mean, with the numbers that these young kids are putting up, and then Brock Holt in left field. He's a pretty good player, too. He's not putting up the kind of numbers of Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr., but this might be the best trio of outfielders in the majors.
Well, let's see. Bradley now has 16 home runs. Betts has 21.
And they steal bases.
Yeah.
And the center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., he might win a Gold Glove this year.
And they hit over 300. So I guess to answer your question, I'd probably go with these guys. It's fouled out of play. Shaw now behind in the count 0-2. Travis Shaw, 2 singles, a run scored. It's now a 2-run game.
Brad was hoping that by bringing in Kyle Ryan against the first couple of lefties, he could get them out. But obviously he did not get Jackie Bradley Jr. out. But now he's going to try to get Shaw out. But that's something that Ryan really has struggled with this year overall. And that's getting left-handed batters out. And that's something that's really going to have to improve if he continues to expect to get the baseball late in games against left-handers.
Now the 1-2. Fouled back. The lefty's batting .317 against Ryan coming into tonight. That's just way too high, obviously. And now Gene Lamont and Brad Ausmus talking about it as they look ahead. Right now we're in the 6th 2-run game.
I don't know if Justin Wilson is usable tonight, but he did throw quite a few pitches, and he had a stressful outing yesterday. Justin Wilson.
2-2 on Shaw. Well, you said it last night, but if you're a manager that comes in here, you cannot relax ever until the final out is made.
You really can't. I mean, this is such a tough place to play. Such a tough place to win games, especially when they have an offense like they have.
Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Shaw is gone, one away.
And Shaw left the strike zone, swinging in that breaking ball that was buried at the bottom of the zone.
More action in the Tigers bullpen. Alex Wilson is heating up for the 2nd time in this game. Sandy Leon will step in. A couple of fly balls for Leon. He is 0 for 2. .390 batting average. Leon was not supposed to start tonight. Hannigan a late scratch. A little bit outside. 1-1. One ball, one strike. Rockhold waiting on deck. Foul back, 1-2 down. And Sandy Leon.
Leon does not get cheated. He takes a healthy cut.
There's Holt waiting in the on-deck circle.
He's got a big league name, doesn't he? Rockhold.
Rockhold, yes. He also a pretty good wrestling name, too.
Football, anything, sports.
Leon
with a big toe.
Hop around, he is drilled.
Puppy's barking right now. Well, Brad's not going to have the luxury of waiting around a long time here in the 6th inning if he feels like Ryan doesn't have it. He's going to have to go get him. That's a breaking ball that went right down and hit right off the ankle of Leon.
Must have got him right underneath that protector. Well, he's on his feet. He's going to head to first base. Hannigan flu-like symptoms of running out of catchers here. Well, we're talking about this Boston team, and they have 5 guys that are hitting over 300. The last team with 5 hitters that finished the year with 300 or better averages, you got to go back to the 1999 Mets. Ricky Henderson was on that team. Mike Piazza, Hall of Famer. Robin Ventura.
Edgardo Alfonso, he could really hit. He was a good second baseman, underrated. Piazza just went into the Hall of Fame.
Well, we don't know how the Red Sox 5 will end up. There's a long way to go, but they're putting together a pretty solid offensive season.
I believe that 99 team for the Mets was the year they had that infield that was just superior, an infield that made very few errors, the fewest errors in the history of the game, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous. They caught the ball so well. Ray Ordonez was their shortstop. Eduardo Alfonso was their, he was their second base.
I think he's their second
baseman. Of course, John Olerud was at first. Might have been somebody like Tim Tuffle at third base that year.
Here's the 1-1. And it's a strike call. Now, Ventura played third that year.
Ventura played third that year.
Ordonez short, Alfonso second.
And Olerud first.
Olerud first. Here's the 1-2. Slap foul back out of play. Which reminds me of the great Ricky Henderson line. Put John Olerud at first base.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the greatest?
It's one of the greatest lines ever.
Olerud, as you know, used to wear a helmet at first base because of an injury he suffered when he was a youngster. And Ricky said, "Hey, I used to play with a guy that used to wear a helmet at first base."
Yeah, they were teammates in Toronto.
And it was Olerud.
And then they were teammates with the Mets. And he said, "I used to play with the guy. It was the same guy."
Olerud said, "Yeah, it was me." Here's the 1-2. A little number right back up the middle, charging Kinsler. He'll shovel and throw it away at second. Leone will go to third, and now the Red Sox have 2 men on, 1 out.
That is a rare error committed by the Tigers' second baseman. He's about as sure-handed in his position as any, but he takes it and he flips it behind him, and I don't know what happened, but it's obviously an awkward play and an awkward feed, and he missed Iglesias by quite a bit.
An error on Kinsler. He's going to bring Ausmus out now as he go to the top of the lineup. You got Betts coming up. You got Wilson coming in. Alex being summoned out of the bullpen. We'll be back. Off and Bryce Harper and the Nationals battle Buster Posey and the Giants. Then the Cardinals take on the Marlins in a game you can see only on FS1. The action begins at 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Well, here is Alex Wilson now as the Red Sox are threatening again.
And last 5 outings for Alex Wilson, pretty good, not scored upon, and getting quite a few strikeouts. Overall this year, checks in with a 3.29 ERA. In 41 innings, 30 strikeouts, 12 walks. Now, one area that has been a troublesome area for him is his inherited runners. He's inherited 26 so far this year, and 11 of those have come around to score. So that's 42%. That's a high number.
Well, he's got Mookie Betts here with runners at first and third and 1 out. Big night for Betts. 2 doubles, RBI, runs scored. Tiger lead down to 2, tying runs on the bases. Brock Holt is chased back.
And the Tigers, they were able to acquire Alex Wilson from the Boston Red Sox. That was in the Rick Porcello deal last year.
On the outer edge.
And Tigers also receive Yoenis Cespedes in that trade.
It's funny how that worked out. Cespedes did not have a draft pick attached to him, so the Tigers knew if they lost him, they wouldn't get a draft pick, and so they got Wilson because of that. To sweeten the pot a little bit, Wilson was really good last year. And back to first base goes Wilson.
And last year, Wilson ranked 10th among American League relievers with a 2.28 ERA. And he pitched a lot.
He sure did, and really every different spot you could in the ball game.
That's right.
Including start. Here's the 1-1. 2-1 now on Mookie Betts. Pedroia waiting on deck.
If you decide to throw Betts a fastball here, you better locate it. I mean, it's got to be in an area where he cannot get to it.
Checked it, went around.
Good cut fastball there at 88 miles an hour. That wasn't the four-seam fastball. Wilson's got a fastball, four-seamer, about 91, 92. That's a cutter at about 88. He also has a slider and a changeup.
Here's the 2-2. It's outside. Now it's full at 3-2. 8-6. Tigers holding on to a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the sixth. Time called now as he delivers the ball. It's going to go to the backstop. A late time given to Betts. Tigers knocked their starter, Stephen Wright, out of the ball game. They got him for 4 runs early in this game and then knocked him out in the 5th. Here's the 3-2. Outside, ball 4, and that's going to load the bases. It's never easy. Not in this ballpark. Now you got Pedroia up there with only 1 out. Leone at third, Holt at second, and Betts has just walked. He's at first. Pedroia has put the ball on the ground 3 times. Can use one here. He'll look at a strike, 0-1. Got 3 grand slams in his career, 297 lifetime with the bases loaded. Has been on base in 28 straight games. So far, not tonight. Here's the 0-1. It's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Every single pitch that Wilson has thrown since coming into the game has been away. Every single pitch was away to Betts, and the first 2 away to Pedroia.
Bogart's on deck. Outside again, 2-1.
At some point in time, you have to at least show the hitter that you are willing to throw inside, pitch inside. That way, when you do make a good pitch that's away from them, you can get away with it.
Wilson with 16 strikeouts over his last 19 outings. An ERA of 1.16 in that stretch. But he has walked the first man he has faced. In there, a strike call, 2-2 on Pedroia, who's beefing now with Brian O'Nora. We got a break there. Just a touch off the plate, it appeared. Wilson with the 2-2. It's fouled back out of play. Ryan started the inning, gave up the home run to Jackie Bradley Jr. Then with one out, he hit a batter, and then Holt reached on an error by Kinsler. And that has opened the door here for the Red Sox. Got him loaded with one out. Low in the dirt, now 3-2. Wilson pushing it to the brink right now. And the crowd getting into it. Wilson wants his catcher Saltalamacchia. He needs a ground ball in the worst way here. Bases are loaded. 3-2 on Dustin Pedroia. Drill to center field. That's going to get down, a base hit. One run scores. They're going to hold Holt at third base. It's an RBI single to make it an 8-7 ball game. Pedroia wins that battle.
It's an outstanding at bat by Dustin Pedroia. Every single pitch that he got, for the most part, was away from him. And then on pitch number 7, it's a fastball at the top of the strike zone, looked like a ball that Petey was able to drive into center field for a solid single and an RBI.
'42nd RBI of the year for Pedroia. Tiger lead has shrunk to 1. The bases are still loaded and only 1 out. Now you got to deal with Xander Bogaerts.
Well, not only do you have to deal with Xander Bogaerts, but the fact that you might not have Justin Wilson for this game here tonight means that Big Papi, if he comes to the plate here in this inning, he's going to hit against a right-hander and not a left-hander.
Bogaerts on base twice, hit by a pitch and a walk.
Justin Wilson threw 28 pitches in last night's game. He could be available, but he's not up, which means he would not face Big Papi when Big Papi comes to the plate.
Now Bogaerts, still only 1 out. Swing and a miss. Wilson about to throw his 15th pitch. He has given up a walk to Betts, and Pedroia battled him 3-2 and then singled to center field. One. Brock Holt, the runner at third, Mookie Betts at second, and Dustin Pedroia at first. Here's the 1-1. Ground ball left side. Iglesias fires to second. There's one. Relay not in time. And the Red Sox have tied it up as Holt comes in to score. It's an 8-8 ball game. Oh, it looked like they might get their double play ball.
Bogaerts has good speed, but take a look at Iglesias, how he was able to get over and get in front of this ball about 4 or 5 feet to his right. But take a look at how he gets it out of the glove and into the glove of Ian Kinsler in a hurry. They rushed this about as fast as you could rush to try to turn 2, but the speed of Bogaerts didn't allow him to turn it. What a feed.
Man. Kinsler got rid of it as quickly as he could. Runners at first and third now. Here is Ortiz with 2 outs. And here come the chance of Poppy. Backed him out of there 1-0.
Last night we had a very close contest. Tonight we have one of those games where teams are scoring bunches of runs. 16 runs total scored already.
Now there's action in the Tigers bullpen. Bruce Rondon. Here's the 1-0. Ortiz takes ball 2. .289 this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position for Ortiz. He's ahead of the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Fouled away. Pretty good rip. 8 runs on 10 hits for the Tigers. 8 runs, 8 hits for the Red Sox. It was a year ago today, as a matter of fact, that Ortiz had a 2-homer game against the Tigers. So he got one here tonight. Pops it up foul, back out of play.
Big Poppy trying to hit another home run. He's got that classic leg kick, and he gets it down most of the time in a very timely manner. Talking about a guy to master a leg kick, David Ortiz has done that.
Two and 2 on Ortiz. Another foul, man. He had a hack. 94 from Wilson.
They've been attacking David with a lot of fastballs today. As a matter of fact, the ball that he hit out of the ballpark was a 3-2 fastball that he got from Mike Pelfrey. That was back in the 3rd inning. It was a 3-run shot. They want the fastball up.
Foul.
Better get it up a little bit higher.
Well, Wilson's giving him all he's got right now. Hanley Ramirez waiting on deck. 8-8 game. It's been back and forth all night. Tigers have given up a 4-run lead and a 3-run lead tonight. Center field. It's going to be right at Tyler Collins for the final out. However, the Red Sox have a big inning. They tie it up. We go to the 7th in Boston. We go to the top of the 7th here at Fenway Park, and Tigers fans join us again tomorrow. Tigers battle the Red Sox in the series finale. Your coverage begins with Tigers live at 12:30 right here on Fox Sports Detroit. 12:30 is our start time tomorrow with Tigers live on Fox Sports Detroit.
Those are the two headliners. Miguel Cabrera and David Ortiz both have homered here this evening. And of course, Michael Fulmer will be towing that slab tomorrow afternoon in Fenway Park for the first time in his career.
Well, here is Victor Martinez now as we go to the 7th. Brand new ball game again, 8-8. And Victor in this game 1 for 3 RBI, single back in the 5th. And he looks at a strike, 0-1.
The Tigers have had several leads in this game, only to watch the Boston Red Sox continue to charge back.
Ross delivers a strike on the outer edge, now 0-2.
And for the most part, Ross, against the right-handed batters that he has faced, he has stayed away from them with his fastball anywhere from 91 to 94.
Extra duty here tonight, got a run or an out in the 5th, and then he had to pitch the 6th, now here in the 7th. Just missed on that one, 1-2.
The the Red Sox are going to get Craig Kimbrell back pretty soon. He threw yesterday off the mound. Right. He's going to throw one more time, and they expect to have him back possibly when they go on to the West Coast.
And Martinez out of there on strikes, 1 gone. First strikeout for Ross. Brings up Nick Castellanos. Single and a walk for Castellanos. Batting .297 on the year. Nick had a base hit in the 5th, scored a run. That misses outside, 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. Robbie Ross, born in Lexington, Kentucky. As Rondon continues to throw. Here's the 2-0. Lifted out of play, 2-1. Rondon will be next, it appears, coming into this game for the Tigers, and he needs to shake off that Chicago series.
Did you know, Mario, that Victor Martinez has already struck out more times this year than he did of all of last year?
You know, I didn't know that, but I was starting to wonder that in the Chicago series because the strikeouts have been piling up here in the second half.
59 strikeouts already this year. Only 52 all of last season.
Really?
And I just noticed that when he walked back after striking out for the second time here today, that he's been striking out a lot, more so than we've ever seen him in a Tigers uniform.
Yeah, he typically is on that list of toughest guys to strike out. 2-2. In on his hands, rolled toward first base. Ramirez shovel toss. Ross will cover for the out, 2 gone. Now Justin Upton. Ten hits tonight for the Tigers, 8 for the Red Sox. Been a back and forth affair. Justin tonight hit a ball hard his last time up, right off the glove of Ramirez. They got him out, but he got an RBI.
That was a huge break because the bases were loaded at that time. And that ball got down in the right field corner. The Tigers would have been able to score a couple more runs, obviously.
Ball 1 high.
Justin's brother was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays last night, Melvin Upton Jr. It's good to see Melvin having a good year because this is the first time he's really had a good year since he left the Tampa Bay Rays, but performing very well this season.
And he should fit in nicely to that Toronto offense, which is, well, it was good without him. Now they got Bautista back.
So they got themselves another great defender. They've got some speed. He's having a good year with the bat.
Well, they're probably looking toward the future as well, because I don't think they'll be able to keep all those pieces in that lineup.
No, they won't be able to keep Joey Bautista, but more than likely they will keep Encarnacion, and I think that's one of the reasons why they acquired Melvin Upton. I haven't got quite comfortable calling him Melvin yet. How about you?
I haven't even. No, I'm just going to stay with BJ, even though he doesn't want it.
You gonna say BJ?
Melvin. Just can't do it.
I bet moms and pops still calling him BJ.
Oh, I'm sure. 1-2 on Justin Upton.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Down goes Jay up. He can't be happy right now. But he appears to be okay.
Looked like it got him in the left leg just below the knee. That shin area. Outside of the shin, actually.
2 on base runner. Upton looks like he is not going to show any pain.
It's the second time that he's been hit this year.
And he's bound and determined not to rub it. He's not going to show any pain at all.
You know he wants to, though.
Here's the Velas. Keep the inning going for the Tigers. Signaled, scored a run back in the second. And he shoots one in the air to center field. That's going to drop, base hit. Upton thought about going to third. Now he's going to slide back into second. Velas has his second hit of the night. So the Tigers a chance to break this tie now here in the 7th. And here is Saltalamacchia, who delivered a big hit in his last at bat. 2-out, 2-run single.
And Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox, going to go out and have a conversation with Robbie Ross just to make sure they're clear on the scouting report on how they want to attack Saltalamacchia.
Hey, Fox Sports Detroit's University Days rolls right along this summer. University of Michigan in Comerica Park on Friday, August 19th. Buy a special ticket package to the Tigers Red Sox game and get a special edition Tigers baseball cap in Wolverine colors. To buy tickets or to get more information, visit tigers.com/UM. Well, we'll see what Salty can do here. Again, he had some big years with these Boston Red Sox. In fact, he had a 25 home run season back in 2012 and then won a World Series with them the next year. Two on, 2 out. Ball 1 outside. Action in the bullpen. Joe Kelly, the right-hander, warming up.
Joe Kelly was throwing 100 miles an hour last night. Not just 1 or 2 pitches, but he touched it several times.
Outside, 2-0.
It looked like this might be one of those situations where he was told, don't give in to Saltalamacchia. If you walk him, it's not the end of the world. They've got Collins in the on-deck circle.
That's exactly what it looks like. 3-0 now in Saltalamacchia.
And so you wonder if Brad will pinch hit. He does have Romine on his bench, who's a switch hitter who obviously bats right-handed.
McCann and Maben, of course, we don't know what the situation is on Maben. Probably not available.
Maben not available.
Swing and a miss. He had a rip on 3-0.
So more than likely, McCann would not be used in this situation, so it will be Collins against the left-hander.
Two on, 2 out. 3-1 pitch is outside, ball 4. That'll load the bases. First walk of the ball game issued by the left-hander. And now here is the lefty Tyler Collins. Collins had an RBI single early in the game. That was against the starter Wright.
Ross is holding left-handers to a 156 batting average.
0-1. Tyler has not had a lot of at-bats at the big league level, but only 1 for 9 versus left-handed pitching this year. Here's the 0-1. Ball high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two-out hit batter, then a single by Aviles and a walk to Saltalamacchia. Now in search of a big 2-out hit. Collins takes high. 2-1. Use that strategy about pitching around a guy, but it does box you into a corner here with the bases loaded.
Collins should get a good fastball to hit right here, and if you don't get the fastball, you simply take it unless it's a hanging breaking ball. But this is your chance right here.
Inside, 3-1.
He missed with a breaking ball there. That same thought still applies. If you get the fastball, jump all over it.
Kinsler on deck. Here's the 3-1. 3-2. Collins taking. Time called by catcher Sandy Leon. He'll come out to the mound.
Well, they're doing a couple of things right here. They want to make sure that they're both on the same page, and they also want to make sure that Aviles, who's out at second base, is not trying to steal signs and trying to relay location to Collins, because the fastball has to be coming.
Here's the 3-2, and he walked in ball 4. That'll force in a run. A bases loaded walk to Collins.
The strategy did not work, and John Farrell is upset, and he is walking at a pretty crisp pace to get out there to take Ross out of the game.
This all started with a 2-out hit batter. And Kelly is coming in, so we'll step aside. Another pitching change here in Boston. It open a bit. They've got the bases loaded, 2 outs, and the right-hander Joe Kelly has come on now for the Red Sox.
We saw Kelly last night. He's not having a good year. The ERA is sitting at 8.5, and left-handers and right-handers are both hitting over 300 against him, but you had to be impressed with the arm strength last night. He was throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. He also has a slider. He also has a curveball and a changeup. He's a former starting pitcher.
So this matchup here, Kinsler is 3 for 5 against Kelly. He's got the bases loaded. And he in a single and 4 at bats tonight. (9-8). Tigers have the lead. And it's driven in the air to center, but straight at Jackie Bradley, and one pitch is all Kelly needed. So the Tigers leave them loaded. They get a run to break the tie. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. With the MLB.com at bat app, stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. A lot of Tigers fans watching a good one here tonight. Back and forth we go, and right now the Tigers have a 1-run lead.
Looks like he might be dialed into that app.
Bruce Rondon checking in now for the Tigers.
And big outing here for Bruce Rondon. He has been nicked up the last 4 times he's gone out there. You see his numbers are not bad as far as the batting average he gives up to righties and lefties. But he's given up quite a few home runs lately.
So Rondon goes to work against Hanley Ramirez, Jackie Bradley Jr., Travis Shaw.
And he has a fastball that will reach triple digits on occasion.
Like there.
101 right out of the chute.
Oh for 3 for Hanley Ramirez. Now the 0-1. Man, high octane.
You don't have a whole lot of time to decide whether you're going to swing or not when a guy's throwing 100 miles an hour. So you will see some guys leave the strike zone on guys that have high octane fastballs.
Up and in. So that's 3 straight now with triple digits. 1 and 2 on Hanley Ramirez.
And you might as well throw the slider now. But you locate it down and away in a good location. I doubt very seriously where Hanley could get to it. especially after 3 fastballs at 100 miles an hour. But they're going to go with another heater.
4 in a row. Tazawa now the right-hander warming up.
Junichi. Tazawa.
Rondon surrendered the leadoff walk to Adam Eaton in the regularly scheduled game on Sunday, and then gave up the base hit to Melky Cabrera for the game winner. Swing and a miss.
There's that slide piece. After 4 straight pitches at 100 miles an hour, there's absolutely no way that Hanley Ramirez is going to put the breaking ball in play. You got no shot.
Pretty well located, too.
Because you're looking for 100.
So with 1 out, here is Jackie Bradley. Tigers 11 hits tonight. Red Sox have 8. Bradley cuts and misses 0-1.
That's nasty. Absolutely wicked. A slider at 90 miles an hour.
Bradley started their comeback in the 6th with a home run. On the outside corner at 100 miles an hour. Bradley thought it was outside as he shakes his head no.
Every last fastball that Rondon has thrown here in the 7th has been at 100 or 101. A couple of breaking balls at 90. Slider down and in now to Jackie Bradley Jr. if he gets it where he wants it.
Left it out over the plate and it's rolled towards second. Kinsler throws him out. 2 gone here in the 7th. Bring up Travis Shaw. Two singles for Shaw. He has also scored a run. Fastball sails outside and yet again triple digits. We've had 3 home runs hit in this game tonight. 2 by the Red Sox. Ortiz, Bradley. Miggy has gone deep for the Tigers.
We had a pretty good pace at the beginning of this game, but it has slowed down to a snail's pace the last couple of innings. Lots of relievers being used, lots of base runners, lots of pitches being thrown.
Ooh, swing and a miss.
Look out, Rondon. Here's our high-speed pitch, and it is brought to you by Xfinity. 101 has been the top fastball that Rondon has thrown since entering the game. He's done that a couple times, but every other fastball has been at 100.
That one got away. 2-2 on Shaw. Leon, the catcher, waiting on deck. Bruce in search of the 1-2-3-7. Here's the 2-2. Got him, strike 3.
Showed up.
Couple of strikeouts for Bruce. A 1-2-3 7th inning. Tigers still lead by a run. Rondon looking good here tonight. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. And by Infinity. Visit your local Detroit area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. The Tigers are ahead over the Red Sox 9-8 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Tigers got the go-ahead run on a bases-loaded walk to Tyler Collins in the 7th. Ortiz has had a 3-run homer and Cabrera has had a 2-run shot. And as we go to the 8th inning, the Red Sox have a new pitcher. Junichi Tazawa will take over.
Well, even though Tazawa pitches out of the bullpen, he still has all 4 pitches, and he uses all 4 of his pitches. He's got a fastball that tops out at about 93. Also has a slider to the curve and the change. You can see he's much better against left-handers. Holding left-handers to a 155 batting average is Tazawa, and he doesn't walk very many, so he's around the plate.
Well, he's got to get through 2, 3, and 4 in the Tigers lineup as Iglesias leads it off. And Jose looks at a strike in the outer edge.
He's got a lot of hesitation in his delivery. He pauses once he gets the front foot up. But then he also pauses once he brings the arm up. So you've got to block all that out of the way if you're a hitter. You don't pay attention to his delivery.
Here's the 0-1. 0-2.
Good breaking ball there by Tazawa.
Been a good series for Iglesias, 4 for 7. And tonight he's knocked in a run with a single.
He has been showing out against his former teammates.
Now Tazawa with the 0-2. Bouncing ball right side. Diving play. Pedroia got him at first base.
What a play by Dustin Pedroia, but did he get it?
C.B. Buckner said you're out, and Iglesias said check it.
I don't think there is a second baseman in our sport that leaves his feet and gets up as quickly as Pedroia does and making the throw at the same time.
I think he's safe. Spectacular play, though. Hard to tell on that angle.
We're not going to challenge it.
No.
Iglesias like, come on, man.
That's a knock. What do we have here? Let's see. Yep, he's out. Or at least not enough to overturn it.
Good call by Mr. Buckner.
Great play there by Pedroia. 1 out. Cabrera fouls it back 0-1.
I thought that ball had right field written all over it.
Well, Pedroia took a great angle to it. Shane Green warming up. Miggy waits on the 0-1. Hit hard to the shortstop on 1 hop. Bogarts. 2 gone.
Starting to see a lot of pitchers pitch Miggy exactly where Tazawa did right here. It's a fastball. It's up and in. It's off the plate. It's an area where Miggy does have trouble bearing up the baseball consistently, but yet he continues to swing at it. And as long as he continues to swing at it, they're going to continue to throw it right there.
Victor Martinez singled in a run in the 5th. He has fanned a couple of times tonight. Tigers lead 9-8. And Vimar takes a ball outside. They've got the shift on against him. 2-0. Boston will have 8, 9, and 1 coming up. When we get to the bottom of the 8th, it'll be Leon, Holt, and Betts. And Tozawa's job is to make sure it stays a 1-run game. Two and 1 on Victor. Victor knows all about what this time of the year means. He was a trading deadline deal when he was with the Indians and was dealt to the Boston Red Sox for Justin Masterson at the trading deadline in 2009. Most guys will tell you it's never easy to leave an organization, especially one that you grew up in, but if you have a chance to win, they'll jump at it. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1 now on Martinez.
Yeah, that was a very difficult day for Victor and his family, and also for the Cleveland Indians when they decided to trade him at the trade deadline that year. A lot of tears were shed that day that Victor got traded from Cleveland.
Well, he grew up in the Cleveland system, got to the big leagues with the Indians. Three and 1 on Victor Martinez. 2 outs here in the 8th. Foul tip into the glove.
It's a good changeup there by Tozawa. 85 miles an hour. Victor has seen everything that he has. He's seen a couple of curveballs. He's seen a changeup. He's also seen his fastball. That's just great location.
Now the 3-2. Wouldn't chase it. Ball 4. That's a 2-out walk. We'll keep it going now for Castellanos. Nick's been on base a couple of times tonight, a walk and a single. He has also scored 1 run. Once upon a time in this game, the Tigers had a 4-0 lead early. They fell behind, then jumped ahead again.
Then had an 8-4 lead.
Red Sox coming back a couple of times in this game. One on Nick. Tigers have Fulmer tomorrow, and then it's back home to take on the Houston Astros after an off day on Thursday. Tigers have a couple of off days in the span of, what, 3 or 4 days?
Right. There's no team in baseball right now as hot as the Houston Astros after the start that they got off to. They're looking to run down the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers about 2 weeks ago had a 10-game lead in the American League West.
Popped him up. Shallow right field. Mookie Betts coming in. And that'll be it for the Tigers. No runs, a walk, and we go to the bottom of the 8th.
of the game. Rondon came on in the 7th inning. He got Henry Ramirez swinging at a breaking ball. Then he got Jackie Bradley Jr. ground out on a breaking ball. Then another fastball, and that was right by Shaw. So nice job by Bruce Rondon.
Well, before we go to the bottom of the 8th, we check in now with Mickey York.
Hi, Mario. Thank you very much. I know Al Avila said on a couple occasions he doesn't expect the Tigers to do anything at the trade deadline, but that hasn't prevented Tigers brass from gathering here in Boston this week to hold a series of meetings. All the guys are here. Assistant General Manager David Chad, Jim Leland is in town. Alan Trammell is in town as well. John Westhoff, their Assistant General Manager and Legal Counsel, here as well. All the analytics team is here. They're just crossing their I's, dotting their T's in the event something could come down the pipe here leading up to the trade deadline. But as Avila has said on several occasions, he doesn't expect it to be sexy, even if they do something.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. First pitch is grounded towards second. To the outfield grass goes Kinsler. One pitch and one gone.
And Mick, what'd you do with that sexy outfit you had on a couple of innings on the big poppy beard?
I got jumped by a little kid. He wanted the gold chain. There was nothing I could do. I had to give it up.
That was pure comedy gold, by the way, Mick. Thanks very much. We appreciate that. Here are the numbers on Shane Green.
Green, in his last 22 outings or 22 innings he's pitched, his ERA is under 2. It sits at 4.25 overall this year. That came at the beginning of the season. But look at his numbers against right-handed batters. They're hitting only 183 against him, and he hasn't given up a homer all year.
Strike one on Brock Holt.
He has looked so comfortable in the bullpen that I wonder if they will ever even entertain the thoughts of him starting again.
Would not surprise me if they don't. When you've got a guy that can pitch in the late innings and pitch as he has in the 8th, protecting leads, those guys are golden. And you know, you could make the argument, as you see Romine has taken over at third, make the argument the starting pitchers are worth more, but this guy has found the niche now and he's kind of commanded this spot.
Right.
Holt with an RBI ground out in the 4th.
He's kind of digging it too. Says he's liking pitching in the 8th inning or pitching in stressful situations most nights. Because that's pretty much when he gets the ball. He gets the ball with a lead most nights.
Shane Green was in the rotation at the start of the year, then blister problems shelved him. He's come back from that nicely. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes on Holt.
Last 10 outings for Shane Green, a 1.04 ERA and a 161 opponent's average against him.
Oh, Kinsler diving try, knocks it down and throws him out.
What a play. What a play.
You cannot make a better play than that.
Dude, he threw that ball to Miguel Cabrera and he wasn't even looking at first base. And he still threw it accurately to Mickey. He dives, he does not make the play cleanly, but he picks it up and throws blindly to Miguel. It's a nice play. It's a nice play.
2 up, 2 down. That'll bring up Mookie Betts. Betts on base in each of his last 3 at bats, 2 doubles and a walk.
Front door breaking ball at 82 miles an hour.
Here's the 0-1. Nine runs, 11 hits for the Tigers. 9 runs, 8 hits for the Red Sox. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Good breaking ball. Greeny even changing speeds on his breaking ball. That one was at 81. He threw him one earlier in the at-bat at 83.
Betts with another multi-hit game tonight, 43 of them this year to lead the major leagues. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Down the first base line, headed back to the seats. It'll be out of play in the dugout. Betts trying to get something started with 2 outs here in the 8th. Tigers in the 9th will have Upton, Aviles, Saltalamacchia. And the 1-2. Sliced right to the second baseman Kinsler, and that is a 1-2-3 inning for Green. We've got a new pitcher coming on for the Red Sox. That'll be lefty Tommy Lane.
He comes in 0-1 as far as the record is concerned. He's now pitching in his 33rd game. 3.95 ERA for the left-hander out of the Boston Red Sox bullpen.
Justin Upton looks at a ball outside. Tommy Lane, born in St. Louis, lives in St. Charles, Missouri. Upton is 0 for 3, was hit by a pitch with 2 outs in the 7th by Ross, and he came around to score the go-ahead run. 2-out hit batter followed by a single, a walk, and then another walk. Tommy Lane began his career in San Diego. He's been with the Red Sox each of the last 2 years. Six, 7, 8 for the Tigers in this inning. It'll float high, and the count goes to 2-1. Any way you look at it, the Tigers still going to have to go through David Ortiz one more time. It would be nice if it was with more than a 1-run lead. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low, 3 balls, 1 strike on Upton. hammered toward left center field. That ball is hit pretty good, and it's going to go off the scoreboard. Upton is on his way to second. The throw not in time. A double for Justin Upton here in the ninth.
Last couple of nights, Jay Up has hit the ball extremely hard. He tripled in last night's game. This is a double, a hustling double. And he had a base hit taken away from him earlier in this game. Even though Bradley Jr. in center field has an exceptional arm and a quick release, and Justin Upton stretched that single into a double.
Here's Mike Aviles. He bunts one down the first base line. They're going to let it roll foul.
I like the idea by Aviles. He was not given the bunt sign from his manager, but he took it upon himself, knowing how crucial it is for the Tigers to score one more run here in the top half of the ninth inning. He was going to bunt Jay Up over to third.
He's had a couple of hits tonight, 2 singles. He has also scored a run. The average up to 211. Aviles, a long look at these signs.
Hanley Ramirez is crowding Aviles. Aviles will not bunt in his direction. What you're taught to do here, if you're Aviles and you look out there and you see Hanley Ramirez, the first baseman, crowding you like that, you just pull the bat back and swing if he charges. Hit the ball on the ground somewhere.
Oh, they're going to throw it back to second base, throw to third, the tag, and Upton's going to be out. Oh, man. Oh, man.
It's a nice play by Leon. That's exactly what you're taught to do. Most catchers are taught if the guy in the batter's box attempts to bunt and the base runner on the base paths gets too aggressive with the secondary lead, then you simply throw behind him, which he did. Justin took off a throw, but a heads-up play by Bogarts was able to get him.
Let's see where the tag is made. Yeah, it looked like he got him. Ball certainly beat him there, so that's a huge play in this inning. 0-2 now the count on Aviles. The 0-2 pitch, a bouncer back up the middle, high hop for Pedroia. And there are 2 gone. Here is Saltalamacchia with 2 away. Salty has had a big night. A couple of hits, a walk, 2-run single. And he'll slice one to center field. The night just got bigger.
Do it, Salty. Do it, Salty.
2-out single for Saltalamacchia. Tigers have their closer warming up.
Yeah, they needed him for a 4-out save in last night's game, but he didn't throw that many pitches.
Here's Tyler Collins. Boy, what a series this would be for the Tigers. If they could win here tonight, you got Fulmer going tomorrow. And then you go back home after splitting in Chicago. A lot of work to be done, though, before that'll happen. See if Collins now can deliver with a 2-out hit. Tyler walked with the bases loaded in the 7th. And that scored the go-ahead run.
Well, a win here tonight would guarantee you a winning road trip.
The 1-0. Collins showing bunt. Trying to take advantage of nobody home on the left side of the infield. 2 balls, 1 strike. It's going to bring Bogaerts in a little bit now, and the cut of the grass. Here's the 2-1. 3-1 on Collins. Ian waiting on deck. Rifled right to the second baseman. Look at that play by Pedroia.
Boy, you know you ought to stop that.
Come on.
Quit it, Petey.
What a play by Pedroia, who's made 2 sparkling defensive plays in this game. Showing some soft hands here.
Olay. Look at the big boy, big play of the game. Ian Kinsler last time Brock Holt was up. He made a bid for a base hit. Ian Kinsler stretched out, dove. He didn't glove it cleanly, but he alertly picked it up with a bare hand, wheeled and turned from one knee. And he got a speedy Brock Holt at first base. Nice job by Kinsler and also by Miguel Cabrera. I guess Dustin Pedroia not going to be outdone here by his counterpart on the other side. That would be Ian Kinsler. He makes a nice play to the Rob. Tyler Collins.
Well, here we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 1-run ball game. Tigers lead it, and they've got their closer on now, Francisco Rodriguez.
And how many times do you see a guy make a nice play like Pedro did, and then lead off the next half inning?
RBI single back in the 6th. He's 1 for 4.
Rodriguez threw 20 pitches last night, so that's not an issue for him.
First one is in for a strike, 0-1.
As a matter of fact, he had to get these same 3 guys out in the 9th inning last night.
Herod making his 899th career appearance, which is going to tie him with Sparky Lyle for 25th.
Sparky Lyle.
In Major League history.
Been a nice run for Francisco Rodriguez.
0-2.
Nice changeup. He can tell you that changeup's coming, and you still couldn't hit it. That's how good that changeup has been for Rodriguez. Just kind of floats up there, then all of a sudden you start your swing and the ball just kind of disappears.
Here's the 0-2. Two, 3, and 4. Pedroia, Bogaerts, and Ortiz. Here's the 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rondon, 1-2-3, impressive 7th. Green, a 1-2-3, 8th. And now K-Rod here in the 9th. Little chopper right side. Miggy has it. K-Rod covers, 1 gone. Here's the upcoming matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. Tomorrow in the series finale, it's going to be Fulmer and Rodriguez.
Must-see TV tomorrow for those of you that can play a little hooky from work. Michael Fulmer, 9-2 with a 241, 81 strikeouts, 30 base on balls. He'll be going up against Rodriguez. He is 2-4 with a 670, but he's a young man that has a lot of promise. Did I just tell some folks to skip work yesterday? Did I? Tomorrow?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Did I do that? Yeah. I would. Well, no, I can't because I got to call the game. Here's Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts hit by a pitch. He has also walked and knocked in a run with a fielder's choice. Strike 1.
Change piece.
Slap right through the center of the diamond into center field. Diving try by Kinsler, but he couldn't get it. Tying run is on now. Frankie up to his feet.
That line drive off the bat of Bogaerts put Rodriguez on his backside. He is right back at him. Getting fired up. David Ortiz getting ready to come off. Ooh. Hit the deck in a hurry, didn't he?
Chuck and duck. Now here is major drama developing here as David Ortiz comes up with the tying run at first.
Ortiz is a lot like Miguel Cabrera. Very smart hitter. He knows exactly how Rodriguez got him out last night, and Rodriguez will not be successful getting him out the same way tonight. He might get him out, but it won't be the same way as last night.
3-run homer in this game for Ortiz. 1 for 5 career against K-Rod. One of those resulting in a strikeout.
First pitch changeup that he missed with. You don't want to throw David anything down. He is lethal on balls down in the strike zone. You gotta work upstairs if you're going to get him out. No mistakes down. Ugh.
Here's a ground ball to second. They'll throw to second. 1 relay, double play.
Tigers have taken the first 2 games in Beantown.
A 4-6-3 double play. They get Ortiz, and the Tigers come in and win games 1 and 2 against the Red Sox.
Well, just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, and it is brought to you by Miller Lite. For once, they were able to get David Ortiz out in a high leverage situation.